Yo, what's up? Oh, sorry, this is you. It's not even my live stream, man. This is your live stream.
Yeah, but I don't know how to control anything on your stupid system, so.
Yeah, but what am I doing here, man?
Oh
yeah, so hello everybody and welcome. This is the most humble Mahdi, and we are actually not on my channel live, but we are on David Wood's channel live, but we're also from my computer live, so this is what we do.
And AP normally uses this big Shure mic here, but there's two of us, so we had to hook up these, so we don't know if anything's working.
Two of us.
Two of us.
Two of us.
Two of us. Two of us. Gooba gobble, gooba gobble.
So what's up, man?
Yo. Hey, what's up?
What's up, man? What's up, man? What's up, man? Oh, hello, everybody.
Big up to me, man.
So yeah, sound is good. Sound is fantastic. Wonderful. Fantastic, man. Fantastic. So today we want to review a conversation that happened on David Wood's channel. No, on Piers Morgan's channel, not David Wood's channel, actually. That's it. Hey, you want to sit over here, maybe, man?
No, you have to. I don't know how to control any of this crap.
Okay, fine.
You're gonna have to control stuff. Oh, so what's going on? Oh yeah, so we just recorded a response to Ali Dawa's discussion with God Logic. He always likes to complain about something, or he always likes to pull some stunt early on. Like the first day they ran into each other. Well, God Logic went and found Ali Dawa, but the first day Ali Dawa spent the whole first section selling prayer mats until God Logic walked away, and then Ali Dawa reluctantly had to have an actual discussion with him. But then the next day, Ali Dawa went up to God Logic at Speaker's Corner and then started whining like a little girl. But you associate with the people who rip the Quran, yeah, isn't it? And wasn't it Ali Dawa and his buddy Muhammad Hijab who caused that to begin with? I recall no one used to just rip up the Quran until Mojab decided, I'm going to go after everyone's wives and humiliate everyone's wives, and we will harass everyone's wives with threats of torture and raping them and so on. And then people got fed up and started ripping up the Quran. That's interesting stuff. Anyway, we just recorded a video about that, and now we're live, so that should be up tomorrow, unless, I mean, we're not used to recording actual videos together like this, and AP just set all this stuff up, so we'll see. There could be a problem I don't know about, but if the footage worked out, then that'll be up tomorrow, and it'll be based.
It's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Yes, so David is here over here to be attending my baptism. I'm going to get baptized this weekend, and David is here to attend that. And I've said to people before, since I'm going to the Orthodox Church, I'm entering the church. When you enter the Orthodox Church, there is usually a requirement to
look at that. He was humiliated. Who was that? He was humiliated. It's right there. Sean Much. Someone just sent me that. We just glanced at it. It said he was humiliated earlier by some woman in London city center. Someone just like 5 minutes before we went live. Someone sent me the link to that. Apparently they call her Tiger. I haven't seen it, but apparently she was just burning up Ali Dawa. But yeah, we'll definitely be checking that out.
Nice.
The word on the street is already that Ali Dawa got burned up by a woman. Why is that relevant? Because in Islam, women are intellectually deficient. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead and finish your story.
The word on the street. So yeah, the word on the street is he got humiliated. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm gonna be baptized this weekend, and David Wood came basically to attend that and to look and to see if everything is being done right. He's assessing the baptism. But anyway, so as a part of joining the Orthodox Church, I figured out that I need to make some changes about myself, because it was like a very prominent thing that you need to change. So I decided to change and look like this. This is called Orthofarianism. So I'm going to be an orthofarian this weekend, and I just looked it up. Actually, I couldn't find a single instance of the word orthofari being used anywhere on the internet, so I just invented it. Thank you, and you're welcome.
And then AP told me that well, he's been telling me for a while, if they find out I'm not an orthobro and I try to walk up in there, they might beat me up. But he said if I start dressing like an orthofarian, then they might let me slide.
Yeah.
Apparently, a bunch of people know who Tiger is because they were like, "What? He got schooled by Tiger? What Tiger?
What Tiger? Tiger? Whoa, it's Tiger actually." I don't know who Tiger is. Who's Tiger?
Tiger. Apparently, she's known.
Interesting.
Sehr interessant.
Interesting. So anyway, do you want to check it out?
What?
Want to check out what happened?
Where?
Let's check some super chats first. Vivek says,
"Oh, you mean the Tiger debate?"
No,
we probably want to check out a couple minutes, but yeah, we should check out the Piers Morgan thing.
These are your super chats.
Vivek says, "Hey D Wood, I had a question about free will. Since God is omniscient, does that mean He planned everything that will ever happen? Do we actually have free will? Does God already know my future decisions?" We have multiple different issues that you've kind of conflated into one. So notice you said, since God is omniscient, does that mean He planned everything that will ever happen?
We were just talking about that yesterday.
What would knowing everything, how would that entail that you plan everything? Like if I say I know what's going to happen tomorrow, how would that mean that I planned and controlled it? So anyway, I'm not going to give you an answer, Vivek, because there are a bunch of different answers that have been offered over the centuries. So on the one hand, some Christians would say yes, right? There are Christian determinists who believe that God has decided everything. He has decided everything that happens. And so Calvinists would be in this camp. God has decided everything that is going to happen. So you have that view. You have sort of one step away from that in terms of like what level of free will you have or what free will means, because Calvinists would say you have free will. They would just want to define it in a certain way. You have Molinists. So Molinists believe that God, when He's creating, He knows how every person would freely choose in every possible world. So it's like God sees all possible worlds before He ever creates, and he sees what everyone's going to do in all these possible worlds, and then He decides which one to create. But He's not choosing what you do. He just knows what you would do in certain circumstances, and He picks a world based on whatever outcome He wants. So you have that view. You have people who believe that God isn't. It's not that God is seeing the future. It's that God sees everything as one eternal present. Like God isn't looking into the future and knowing what happens. It's just God is outside of time and He sees everything. He sees like the whole timeline as it's happening. And so you and there are more views than that, by the way. But and then on the towards the other end of the spectrum, you would have people who believe that God doesn't know the future. He doesn't know the future as far as people's free decisions. So these are called open theists, and they wouldn't say that they don't believe in omniscience. They would just want to define omniscience in a certain way. And it's kind of similar to omnipotence in the sense that if you say God is omnipotent, you're not saying that God could do absolutely everything. You're saying God could do everything that's possible or something like that, right? So open theists would define omniscience and say God knows everything that can be known. But what you're going to do in the future isn't something that can be known. And therefore, God knows everything that can be known. He's omniscient, but He doesn't know what you're going to do with your free will in the future and so on. So you have an entire spectrum. But notice God seeing what you're like. Suppose we're talking about God seeing everything as an eternal present. You wouldn't say that God is picking what you do. God just sees what you're doing. God sees what you're doing as you're doing it. So in other words, it's you're deciding what to do, and God knows because he sees it. And so it's not God's knowledge determining what you're going to do. It's your decisions are God knows your decisions because He sees what you're deciding when you're doing them. So anyway, point is that's a huge debate, and there are different explanations and responses, and I kind of don't always pick one. There's some that I would have a serious problem with, like open theism. I would have a serious problem with that. But yeah, I don't know which view is correct. I know there are a bunch of different views. Wake up, dude. What the heck?
Yeah.
Lazy.
The unapologetic apologist made us, which thank you, unapologetic apologist.
Thank you for never apologizing.
Jack Ray said David Wood is the tardiest of streamers
And the most based.
Thought said, yeah, but the streams are long and they respond to every super chat. Pros and cons. You see,
that's true.
Means we're based. Jack Ray AP took over David's channel. You see, first David Wood channel, next Constantinople.
That's true.
The plan.
That was practice. If I can take over David's channel, then I can take over Constantinople with no problem.
Yes. The unapologetic apologist. Hey, Dawood and AP. I am a new Christian apologist, and I make content mostly geared toward Muslims. What would be your best advice when witnessing to Muslims and growing my channel? I'm not sure why I'm reading your super chats.
Yeah, I have to say those are two different things. Growing your channel and witnessing to Muslims, those are two different things. Like when I talk about witnessing to Muslims, you can check out my video. I took it down from my old channel before I gave my old channel away, but it's on some of the backup channels. But it's called how to share unpleasant facts with pleasant Muslims. Like it's basic, because some people like, how do I even start a conversation with Muslims and what do I bring up? And so I made a whole video about that. But that is different. How I would witness to a Muslim is different from what would make you successful as a YouTuber, what would get you clicks and so on. So those are kind of two different things. Yeah, I would say figure out something you're interested in. If you're getting started, what I would recommend if you're getting started is picking maybe between 1 and 3 Muslim apologists, watching their stuff, and making responses to some Muslim apologists in particular. That way, because if people don't know who you are, especially at the beginning, then you're going to want them to find you in search and stuff like that. And they may be looking up their favorite Muslim Dawa guy. And if they are, then they might come across your responses, but also you'll have people who are looking up responses to the Muslim Dawa guy, and so they'll find your stuff. And one thing that's a really good idea is if you've been following a Muslim channel, catch something right when it comes out, and you just have to crack down and make a response quick, like, and that way you've got kind of the first response up. So when people start looking for responses, yours is the one. No one else has made a response yet. Anyway. But with that said, as far as how YouTube works and making a YouTube channel, you can find all that endlessly on YouTube. There are entire channels that do nothing but train people on YouTube. So
interesting. Jack Ray says AP took over. Oh yeah.
Why the font change?
What? Cult Wraith says J. Dyer and Andrew Wilson. The real losers of this debate will be the audience. What have we done to deserve this penance? I was only reading Goat Up for the articles. And hey, stop careful how you talk about my fellow Orthodox brethren.
Yeah, just because no one likes Orthobros and Orthodox and all that stuff doesn't mean that we need to say it.
They're the most based. Let's see. Robbie Hatmaker, is AP baptized yet, or is he still dragging this out for attention?
He's waiting. He said you have to like his most recent tweet with 1 million likes, and then he will get baptized.
Yeah, I will. I'm about to get baptized, but I think before I get baptized, I want to put a challenge out there. Like, if this receives so many likes, then I will get baptized. Depending on how many likes it gets, I will get dunked that many times. Apple Baker, I'll Puff Daddy, forgive me for being nosy, but what do you guys talk about when you're not doing live streams? What activities do you together when not live streaming? Usually, we talk about flowers and trees. We talk about lizards too.
We're into nature.
Yeah.
No, that's the thing. It says, what activities do you do together when not live streaming? We're not normally together. We live in completely different parts of the country. And so when we're not, if we're in the same area, we're not live streaming, usually we're working on a video, or in other words, we get together for a purpose, and we're usually working on that.
That's true. That's what we do. That's what we do. And we talk about some deep stuff sometimes. Like yesterday, we talked about free will and determination. And I humiliated David in that conversation.
That was true.
Yeah. Silicate, have you guys been smoking magic Jew weed? Jack Ray, Ali Dawa went to the mat for his grift. Very, very nice. T. Jerker became a YouTube member.
His prayer mats.
Yeah, yeah. The Seal of the Prophet says all this debate, Peacemaker AP got me sympathizing with J. Dyer, but Andrew Wilson is still insufferable. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say about him. I don't know. Dawa Troll, you've been smoking too much of the weed, my brother. That's nice. That's nice. Do you want to finish the super chats as you always do, or do you want to?
It's up to you, man. Up to you. I'm still sending out the link. I forgot to send out the link to everyone.
Sarah F. Cursed be you two for ruining me. AP, you know Chrysostom loves saying "you see" in his homilies. Whoa. You can probably imagine how I hear that in my head now. What the hell just happened? I wonder if they yeah, so we're still live because my energy runs on a little energy saver, but for some reason we have a this is very funny, man.
You have an overhead light. So what is that? Is that you trip a breaker?
Oh sure, what happened to you?
What
the heck?
What?
Wait, if that still works, then our energy is not gone. But all of these lights are out. What happened?
It seems like you tripped a breaker.
Oh shoot!
You want to go check it?
Oh shoot!
You want to go check it?
Oh shoot! Could that be bad?
What, tripping a breaker? Yeah. I mean, no. Have you never tripped a breaker before?
But
go check your box, man.
No, but I don't understand. This one's connected to this. That one's connected to that. So yeah, we are still live apparently. But
wait. You could have just tripped one little thing.
That could be true.
Like you have a.
Huh. This is weird.
Let me
see. Shoot!
What?
Oh shoot! Nothing.
Where's the switch on this thing?
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
I can't see because it's dark. Give me my phone.
You can't see nothing?
No, I just want to see where's the switch on this.
Take your sunglasses off, man. It's funny. Everyone can still hear us.
Everyone can still hear us because we have microphones on. They're being humiliated.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody can hear me. Let me sing at least while we have these microphones on.
It's going to be fun.
Wait, what?
What? How did that turn off?
How did all of these turn off at the same time?
Okay. That is weird.
Well, what are they connected to?
It might have just clicked off for like a second and then...
This is weird. This is weird stuff.
All right, get back in place, man.
Okay, maybe it was like a short outage or something.
Yeah, it might have been just for a second. And then you just have to turn it back on.
This is very, very strange. What's going on in this place? What's going on, man?
Ah! You guys thought it was over? You thought we were done?
You think this is a joke?
You thought Ali Dawa won?
Anyway, man, now my whole outfit is ruined because of this.
They're saying the jinn have defeated us.
Yeah, for some reason the light just went out and then they're back on again. It's never happened. I don't know what happened. Soon Al-Zut is showing up.
Zut! All right, what do we got?
So, cursed be you two. Yeah, I know he does say that in his homilies. That's very funny. I mean, I guess it's a good thing to say.
He does say, "You see,
you see, you see, you see."
Wait, so the Dawa guys stole this from him?
Yeah, he probably stole it. The Dawa guy stole it from Saint John Chrysostom.
Nice.
Up a baker, up a daddy. Hope AP and David Wood are on this week in Jihad always.
We were. Oh, you mean always? No,
always.
No, AP would not be welcome always. We don't trust in him.
Yeah. Up a baker, up a daddy. David Wood, how did your son get hooked on Russian folk music?
No idea. No, not studying Russian. He took like German in high school, so I have no idea. And I had no clue until he started playing them. But yeah, it was like war ballads. But then he was breaking down the entire story of how this guy did this and he got out of the war and then went back. And it's all this like miserable stuff. They're like extremely, they're all extremely depressing stories. But somehow it fits with Russians. It's like we talk about all the wars they go on and then we drink vodka all day.
That is Russian literature, man. Russian literature is like the most depressing thing in the world.
It's pretty bad.
Do you speak German or Turkish to your children? No, I don't. As a person who speaks multiple languages, you usually have this whole idea of like, oh, I'm going to teach my children, but then you don't actually do it because it's too much.
It is good. Those are the only people who can like be completely fluent and have no accent in either language. I saw this, man, I knew this kid when I was young, and his mom was German, his dad was Italian, and and of course he was raised in America. And so this kid could speak 3 languages with no accent. Because anyway, interesting stuff.
What's with your ridiculous?
Gotta get him young, huh?
What's with your ridiculous outfit?
Oh, I don't know. Big up to me man, J Dyer.
What's with your ridiculous outfit? Ida goes and oh no, I'm late 7 minutes. Love you both. Love you, Ida. We love you all. West Said, congrats on your baptism, AP. Also, if you two ever break up, please don't Elon Trump each other.
That would be funny.
I'm gonna say, whoa.
Hey,
actually,
we should stage it.
Put it in the Epstein files.
we should pretend one day that we're going off and like be sharing all this like horror stories about each other, and then like after it goes, after the Dawa guys jump over, you see, and we just go live and we're like, haha, you see. Oh, we actually talked about that, like, because we had Jay Dyer live, and then everyone was watching because they were expecting like warfare, and we were saying we should like pretend to have beef, and then have a live stream to squash the beef, but we should like consistently like pretend that there's this huge beef going on, and then we have a live stream to squash it because people want to tune in for drama, and then we'll talk about something serious. Yeah. Did you think it was odd that Ali Dawa actually allowed Avery to finish his answer, knowing that Avery's explanation was about to embarrass his position? That was interesting. I mean, you'd think he would want to cut him off or just walk away or something like that, but you know, he did sit there and to his credit, that was a good feature. So respect to Ali Dawa for allowing God Logic to completely finish humiliating him instead of like, you know, cutting it off and putting on a big show or something like that. Beast. Anyway, let's look at a little bit at the video here. That's a good idea. And then we can continue with the super chats. The super zoots. The super zoots. All right, mate. What is this?
Right, you're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done. What's the lady doing here? Hey, don't be playing this. These guys copyright everything. These guys suck, man. Jubilee sucks.
They played the clip. I clicked that. Is Jordan Peterson a Christian? That's
you play like 5 seconds of a Jubilee clip. They're like, oh, copyright strike, and then you got to freaking fight it with them.
Calling them Jubilee.
From the Danny Phil Talk channel, Danny Shaw, and Parker from the Parker
That's that kid who was trying to get on our show and we wouldn't let him. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then, hey, I don't know if you know, then he went over on to Cameron's channel the next day and he's like, and I was on a show and they wouldn't even let me on there.
What, really?
Yeah. And then Cameron's got Trent Horn on with him, and Trent Horn's like, what? How dare they not let you on?
But the funny thing is, when I made a video about this, I called that guy a kid and all that. And then people were saying, you're calling him a kid, but he's actually a 32-year-old philosophy teacher.
He's 30? What? That Danny one?
Yeah.
He's 32 and a philosophy teacher?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That sucks, man.
That made it even worse for me. Because I call him kid because he clearly acts like and looks like and sounds like a kid.
Yeah, that's how he is in when he's teaching. Well, that's embarrassingly terrible.
Apparently he's a teacher and he's 32. What the heck? I don't know, man. I don't know if anyone can.
No, then he's stupider than I thought, because you can kind of dismiss some of this stuff if it's a kid, right? Okay, you're a kid, you haven't been through anything, you don't know, you spent your entire life on the internet, you don't know how to, interact like an adult. If you're a 32-year-old professor or something like that, you got no excuse.
Wait a minute, maybe he's introducing him here. Let me see.
Yeah, let's get the intro.
Let's get it.
Of that video, one of Peterson's young inquisitors posted on X. Peterson was no Christian. Let's move on. Are there any actual Christians that want to debate? Which is quite the challenge, but one that, of course, we on Uncensored are only too keen to facilitate. So making the Uncensored debut from the Danny Phil Talk channel, Danny Shaw, and Parker from the Parker Get a
I didn't
Job
even say, man.
debut from the Danny Phil Talk channel. Danny Shaw and Parker from the Parker Get a
Can you imagine if this was Muhammad Hijab? Why didn't you introduce Piers? Why didn't you introduce me as philosophical genius and greatest philosopher of all time?
Job channel. And we've arranged for them to take on two of the most notorious.
Can I at least call this guy a kid? Like
Parker from the
They
Parker.
both they
This
look
guy
like
here.
they both look like they're 15 to me. I don't know.
He looks like he could be anything.
It's
Get
funny.
a
His
job
name
channel.
Parker. His parents used to watch Parker Lewis Can't Lose, and they're like, "Oh, our kid's gonna be just like Parker Lewis."
What's this guy's name?
That's funny.
Danny Phil Talk.
Huh?
Danny Phil Talk. Danny Phil Talk. I have an MA in. Wait, no. What the heck? This is what it says. You'll see that a lot of my content is on philosophy. I'll talk about philosophy. I have a what in philosophy? I don't know what this guy is. People kept saying he's a philosophy teacher. I'm not really sure if that's even true. Anyway,
Well, if someone says it in the chat, it's got to be true.
like lots of people in the comments and people who support him were saying that too. I don't know. Content that promotes if anyone actually knows if that's true, please let me know, because
I can't say I care a whole lot. It
that's
will just affect.
incredibly- Oh, there he is.
Well-
He's in the chat actually. Yeah, look, Danny Phil Talk.
Let's he jump in whenever anyone's talking about him.
Danny. Hey, is it true that you're
Hey, great. Danny's in the chat.
Is it true that you're 32 years old and a philosophy teacher, or is this just a rumor? Because it's very difficult to believe. Please let us know if that's true. Please let us know that if that's true. We have to know. We have to know right now.
We have to know.
We have to know right now. Please let us know. Please let us know. Please inform us. Please inform us whether it is in fact true that you are a 32-year-old person and that you are also a philosophy teacher. Please let us know.
You can go ahead and play some of it while you're waiting for his answer,
Okay,
man.
fine, man.
channel. And we've arranged for them to take on two of the most notorious and fearsome debaters on the internet, who also happen to be conservative Christians. The king of blood sport debating, Andrew Wilson from The Crucible, and the equally forthright author comedian.
1.8-inch PP.
It's funny how
Says Danny left the chat.
so Danny says, I am
Oh.
32, I adjunct for a university and I teach high school.
Oh, teach high school. Okay.
So in your face.
32. Dang.
In your face. See, you were saying it's not possible. You were making fun of him. He's indeed 32 years old and a philosophy teacher.
People saying thought he was 19. It would be like that movie.
I thought he was 16, man.
It would be like that movie Catch Me If was it Catch Me If You Can, where like, oh no, that was the reverse. That was the reverse. He pretended to be a teacher even though he was a student. So yeah, that would be funny. Hey, you could actually walk into class like on the first day and sit down like you're a student and listen to whatever everyone's saying, and then jump up at some point and go, ha, I'm actually the teacher. That'd be cool.
At the end of a school year, do people still come up to you and say, hey, are you really a teacher, or is this just a prank? Or I don't know.
Yeah, if someone who looks really young stood up and started teaching my high school class, I would be like, I would think that someone's playing a prank or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right.
Interesting stuff. But hey, good to know.
Good to know. Good to know.
Glad you
Now
feel
let's see how he debates. He may be a beast, in which case we will feel totally humiliated.
You know what? I
Let's
find
see.
funny?
In other words, I thought he was a kid. I thought he's like 18 or 20 or something like that. So I was expecting him to argue like one. But if he's 32 and teaches philosophy, then he may be more of a force to be reckoned with than I thought. So let's go ahead and see what he argues.
Okay, good.
What are you waiting on? Christmas?
Some debaters on the internet who also happen to be conservative Christians. The king of blood sport debating, Andrew Wilson.
Andrew Wilson.
I find it funny how Andrew is just takes this compliment and this description of himself like completely seriously.
Yeah, you're supposed to go big up the blood sport debate, man.
From The Crucible, and the equally forthright author, comedian, and commentator Jay Dyer from the Jay Dyer channel. Welcome.
He called him a comedian.
Did he call him a comedian?
Yeah.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Is Jay Dyer a comedian?
He calls himself a comedian. He does actually some good odd comedy, man, sometimes.
I'm guessing he's totally deadpan because he seems like serious almost. He'll occasionally smile and chuckle or something like that, but he looks like dead serious like
does that.
forever.
He has this character called Randy Balls. Yeah.
to all four of you. Well, let me start with you, Parker. Were you surprised by the reaction?
Danny, how old is Parker? Is he 12?
So is Parker one of the people at Jubilee?
Yeah, he was one of those people. He was at Jubilee, and he was doing like this, like.
Oh, okay. Did he actually talk to Jordan Peterson, or was he left out?
I'm not sure. I don't remember if he actually did.
I don't remember. I didn't see all of it.
I remember that when
someone said Parker is 56. Wow.
No, I'm serious. I mean, is he 12 or is he also like above 30 or something? I don't know. Please let me know.
Look at Andrew. He's already got the cigarette. People are like, is he smoking? Yeah, that's what he does.
To what went down with Jordan Peterson?
Actually, no. I was actually expecting this to happen, as I knew before this, as I watched the Alex O'Connor debate against Jordan Peterson, that he was very, very not likely to, like being associated with Christianity. So I knew actually going into this that I was going to ask him a question specifically about whether or not he believes this to be the case, and that he would likely be not very upfront with his answer. So I actually kind of.
So here's the funny thing. The Jubilee system, pretty sure, as it works, as they make it. I remember this from their instructions that they send out. Specifically focuses on not what you want to talk about as a guest or as a challenger, but rather what the talking point of the main figure in the middle is. So in this case, Jordan Peterson has I think 5. Topics or 5 arguments that he makes, and then the people around are invited to discuss that topic. So they're not supposed to discuss whatever they have on their own minds. So going into it, trying to discuss whatever they have on their own minds is already going into it in an incorrect way, which also happened with Danny, for example. Like the topic was in his conversation with Jordan Peterson, which is also why it easily derailed. And Danny, you should have seen this. Was that his argument or his statement was that everybody, even atheists, worship something, although they do not know it. To then try to make it all about his personal specific beliefs already goes into the wrong direction, according to the program itself and according to the argument that Jordan Peterson made. You can't just derail it like that and then expect it to continue, Powerful.
Expected there to be a response like this. Now, I didn't expect it to go as viral as it did, as there are literally tens of millions of views on clips associated with mine and Danny's against Jordan Peterson all over social media. So it's actually really cool to see that,
Really?
Really cool to see what? That's what you want to be known for? Oh, you're a Christian. Oh, you won't answer.
And we already reviewed it. There is nothing at all that was said in this conversation, at least the one with Danny. I haven't seen the other one with Peter Parker. But there was nothing that said there that was actually of any substance or of any importance to the arguments in question.
Do not put that crap up on the screen, man.
I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Not doing that.
We'll just trust that Parker was on there.
I'm not doing that. Let's see. Peter Parker. Where's Peter Parker? I don't even see Peter Parker. Doesn't look like he was on there for a long time. You know who the best person here was from what I've seen?
This lady.
This, whatever her name is, I haven't looked at her name.
Yeah.
Whatever her name is, whenever she came on here, she was fantastic and she actually stuck to the topic. And was also good, which is why Jordan Peterson also remarked and said, that is a very good question. That is a very good question. So she was actually on point.
Yep. Lots of other people were just looking for a
gotcha moments and stuff.
Oh, no, I'm famous because I did the gotcha.
I don't even see Danny here appear.
Yeah, no one cares.
Oh, here he is.
Like 0 people care.
There he is.
Do not play that crap, man.
Okay.
We'll take his word for it. Thanks, Jubilee. We can't stand you for your copyright positions.
Copyright losers.
Pierce Morgan is better than you.
Yes.
Everyone across the board, whether it be Christians, atheists, Muslims, right, etc.
Are we interested in any of this?
Yeah, what does apologetics mean? I don't know. It means when you say sorry a lot.
Yeah, apologetics. It comes from the Greek word apologion, which was a legal term in ancient Greece. Matter of fact, yeah. So Plato's Apology is the story of the trial of Socrates, and you can see that Socrates is not apologizing. Socrates is not apologizing. He enrages people and they sentence him to death because he ticks them off. An apology was a defense. So you had the accusations, you had the prosecution, and they're raising the charges against you. Look what this guy's done. He's corrupting the youth and so on. Your apology is a defense speech. And so this gets used by Peter in 1 Peter, and he commands Christians to always be prepared with a defense for everyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that you have. And so it's like when people are challenging you, hey, why do you believe this? Why do you believe this? Why do you believe that? At least on the big issues, you should be prepared to give a defense. And so he uses the word there, and we take it, and we use the word apologetics. So apologetics is giving a rational defense for what you believe. So anyway, point is, everyone does apologetics. We use it's most commonly used in Christianity, but for people who are defending Christianity, or for Muslims who are defending something, but everyone who's defending any position you hold to, you're doing apologetics in that sense.
Yeah. So short question is basically when you say sorry a lot. That's
actually see that like he's really not wanting to answer the question there because he doesn't want to be associated with Christianity for some reason.
And Danny, I mean, you were the smart ass in the room, according to Jordan. What's been your?
He was not a smart ass. He was the smart ass. Get it right, man. He was a smart ass.
Reaction to the fallout?
I'm generally happy that that people can see the frustration that we have with Peterson. I would say that atheists are not the only ones that are frustrated. Christians are, right? Here we have Peterson saying things like, yeah, I think Jesus might have resurrected, but I don't know what that means. Yeah, I might be a Christian in some sense. I'm a one-of-a-kind Christian.
So here's the thing.
Why? Jordan, I don't think Jordan, I think he's literally like, I don't understand these things. I don't, and therefore I'm not like, this is my definite position. He's like,
well, to be very honest, I still personally think that that Jordan Peterson overdoes the whole. It depends on what you mean by that, and
that's true. That's annoying as crap. That's annoying as crap.
I think he overdoes it, and I think he also unnecessarily avoids certain answers and all that. However, once again, that was not the topic. So lots of people out there, thousands, maybe millions of people see it and say, "Oh, look, Jordan Peterson got this story." I personally still. And I see that I actually have the minority position here. I don't see anything wrong with what Jordan Peterson did there in those responses. I think he was completely on point. But this is also the thing, like when you are a super intelligent individual like me, just kidding. So I don't think that he actually did anything wrong. I think he answered exactly what was being asked. I think he deliberately denied to give an answer when there was no answer to be given, when it had nothing to do with the topic. He also even explicitly said this is personal. The only issue that I still have with all of it is who put the whole Christian thing there.
That's the biggest problem.
When and how did Jordan Peterson accept the designation of one Christian? Under what circumstances did he accept that? Because that could change a lot of things. Otherwise, him saying, well, I am a Christian in a sense, but I wouldn't really call myself a Christian. I mean, that's what you said. I don't think it's necessarily a big problem. I think he's being quite honest about it.
I think so too. And keep in mind, guys, it's not always an easy thing to answer if you're not sure about certain things. Like Dawkins would consider himself a cultural Christian. There are all sorts of people who consider themselves cultural Christians. So if you say, hey, are you a Christian? What do you answer? You could clarify and say, well, I'm a cultural Christian, but not a, believing Christian or something like that. The point is, there's some gray areas if you haven't actually, like even you, if someone like a month ago were to say, are you a Christian? You kind of wishy-washy on, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be baptized first, and I'm supposed to, it's not always easy to give answers in certain situations. And then when Danny's like, you're either a Christian or not Christian. No, you could be a Christian in different senses. Like, what do you mean? A born again in the evangelical Christian sense of born again, or cultural Christian? And then you have, what if you start believing that, put it this way, asking Jordan Peterson if he's a Christian is kind of like asking Jordan Peterson if he believes in the Bible. Right? Like, he obviously believes in the Bible in a sense. He doesn't believe in the Bible in the way your average Christian would believe in it. So if you were to say, yes or no, do you believe in the Bible? It's like, I think he would say, and justifiably in this situation, what do you mean? What do you mean? Do I believe that it's all inspired by God? And
what do you mean?
I don't know. I think he would say, I don't know about that.
I don't know about that.
So anyway, it's the point is these questions aren't always easy to answer. And if you're in the category of someone who, well, if you mean this, then yes. If you mean that, then no. Or I'm not sure about this, or I'm not sure about that. Then if you just ask, are you a Christian? And you give a yes or no answer, you're misleading people. You'd be misleading people. So I think that's kind of what Jordan Peterson is going on with Jordan Peterson. But yeah, and I think in that situation, as far as on the show, it's, if you ask me, am I a Christian? And I start explaining it, well, that's not what we're here to talk about. I made a claim that you worship something. And if this is going to be you interrogating me about my belief, that's not what we're here to discuss. And all these guys right here, I think they're justifiably annoyed in the sense that they were told they're talking to a Christian. That's where they're justifiably annoyed. And that's where, so the blame there is on whoever put this together and told these guys that they're debating a Christian. They expect to go in there and be debating Christianity. That's the issue. As far as all the other stuff, if you have a top, that's just annoying, man. If you say, here's the topic, you worship something, everyone worships something. Now go. Are you a Christian?
I find it funny. Somebody is saying like, "Oh, you're just coping and defending Jordan Peterson." David, do you remember how much I bashed Jordan Peterson when it came up?
Yeah.
Okay, when I disagreed with him, when I was brutal on occasion with Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
So,
and it's just, why would we be interested in if Jordan Peterson's right about something, I'll say he's right. If he's wrong about something, I'll say he's wrong. If he says, I don't want to answer whether I'm a Christian because I'm not sure about various things, and my answer and whatever answer I give would be misleading to some people, and it has nothing to do with the topic that I'm addressing right now, which is whether everyone worships something. That's what we're here to address. And to go down a rabbit trail of my beliefs and why I don't want to answer certain questions is like, what's next? You're gonna like if you sit down and say, hey, everyone worships something, and you sit down and go, hey, what's up with your wife, man? Are you allowed to just like divert the topic to something that is not the topic, like that?
Worship your wife?
And then if you don't answer, then shame on you. You're a coward. I don't know.
So here's my personal thing. I actually not too long ago, before I officially started identifying as a Christian, I called my own priest and asked him and said, hey, people ask me sometimes, and I honestly don't know when people ask me what to say, because on the one hand, I want to identify as a Christian and want to be part of it and feel good about it and all that. On the other hand, I'm not really sure what it really means to say that I'm a Christian. So he told me it is good to identify as a Christian, especially in your position. However, if you ask me, he said, save it until you personally and consciously acknowledge that Jesus is your Lord and Savior. That's what he said. Until then, you can just say that you're on your path to baptism and all that. So, and I did actually leave it until that. That's what I did. It can depend on person.
Hey, you know what's funny?
What?
AP brought me this Coke Zero here, and I just looked at it, and at first I thought it said homilies. Isn't that funny? It says homies, but at first I was like, what, homilies? How did you get a homilies Coke?
You see? Homilies?
It's all wishy-washy. We're all frustrated, and I think that the video is the culmination of that frustration.
Okay, well, the good news, like I told you, is we found two far from shy Christians to take you on in this arena. Andrew Wilson, let me start with you. What was your reaction to these two and their showdown with Jordan Peterson?
I mean, I kind of have to agree with Danny a little bit. It's like, like people have been wanting.
Peter Parker is too overjoyed about every single thing that he hears. Man. Look at this.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Like, it's funny. It seems like, I don't know. I've never seen him before. He seems like a happy guy. Like there are lots of like angry atheists. He doesn't seem angry. I don't know.
It's like, hey, how you doing, man? Answer. Oh, yeah, okay, I like that. Anyway,
this guy to take the position on whether he's a Christian or not a Christian forever, on the right, the left, center, basically across the board. Now, I'll always be in some ways grateful to Jordan Peterson. He was one of the first who kind of started the trend of standing up to the pronouns people, which was pretty epic to watch. But, ultimately,
Parker's laughing about pronouns.
he's kind of a shell of his former self. He didn't look great going through that debate. He looked kind of run down. I think that him being on with the Daily Wire probably hasn't been great for him. He's not he doesn't have the kind of edge that he used to have. But ultimately, I mean, I was actually kind of,
so here's the thing. Jordan Peterson did not change one bit. Okay. I'm sorry to say this, but there are some people out there who are acting like, oh yeah, Jordan Peterson, he used to be more edgy, he used to be this, he used to be that, but something happened with the Daily Wire. Nothing happened at all. Absolutely nothing happened. He's the exact same person. You will not find him say significantly worse things or significantly more brave and edgy things years ago than he does today. He's very much equal in his tone, in his in how edgy he is, in how open he is and offensive he is, and so on. He's exactly the same.
Yeah.
The only people that actually changed are those who are on the receiving end of his words out there. He is. And this is just a very, very frequent attempt to somehow bash the Daily Wire and to bash Zionists, and also, to be honest, to bash Jews. I don't think this is the case in Andrew Wilson's case, but it is a trend, and some people hop on the trend for one reason or the other. Jordan Peterson is still the same as he was when he first became famous. He did not become softer before or after he joined Daily Wire. This is complete nonsense.
Yeah, I think the difference between Jordan Peterson now and Jordan Peterson like 12 years ago is he's dealing with issues that are different from, and he's sort of out of his field of expertise on some of these issues. He's learning as they go. In other words, he was already like an expert on the topics that he deals with, and he's talking about psychology back then.
Prove me wrong then. Go ahead, prove me wrong.
Whereas now he's talking about Christianity and then Islam, and hey, how can people reconcile? And he doesn't, especially when he's talking about Islam, he didn't know a lot of what he's talking about. And then even when he like studies the Bible, he's like studying everything from like a psychological perspective, and what are the psychological issues underlying all these things and so on. And so anyway, he's on different ground now. And I mean, the Jubilee and his discussion with Richard Dawkins are a perfect example. It's here's what I've thought psychologically about all these issues and why they're important. People need to get to the bottom of them, and not really understanding how your average sort of aggressive atheist is going to come at you. And he's sitting there, oh, if I explain this to them, and not realizing it's not going to work. If you wanted your average atheist to understand your like psychological insights into religious belief or something like that, it's going to be like a long conversation. It's not going to be something that really will work if people are like blasting you in a debate setting.
Look at this dummy. Yes, the Jewish people hate Christianity. Go try and preach in Israel. So I'm going to tell you one thing.
Go try and preach is Israel.
I'm just going to tell you one thing, ESTG. Look up the channel So Be It and look at their videos, and then come back and say this again with a straight face.
And hey, AP, did I or did I not talk to a Jewish, Messianic Jewish, so this guy, a Christian, did I not sit down with him and asked him, he's been preaching for 20 years in Israel. He said the most common reaction you get from Jews when he says that he, as a Jew, believes that Jesus is the Messiah, he said the most common reaction is they're interested. Yes. Like they want to know why. Like, because that's
also what you see on the videos, by the way.
And yes, well, but no, that's not what I saw from Nick Fuentes. Block that dork, man.
Freaking idiot. Don't get your information from online memes, man.
Kind of glad to see it. It's about time we know, are you or aren't you? Get off the shit or get off the pot, essentially, right? Are you a Christian or aren't you a Christian? That's a fair question.
And why is it up to you?
And Jay, I mean, ultimately, these two young men on the panel today, they're sworn atheists. You obviously are not. So if you were actually conducting a debate about their atheism against your Christianity, how would you take them on, given what happened to Jordan?
Well, it depends on what you mean. Depends on what you mean.
Now that's funny. Okay, he is funny. Okay, you got a better impression than he does, but that was decent and unexpected because I haven't seen a lot of Jay Dyer, but every time I've seen him, he's been serious. Which, like when he was live with us, that was like the first time I'd ever seen him smile. So I thought he was like completely serious, and then you're telling me he's a comedian that he starts off with, "Well, it all depends on what you mean."
I didn't see that at all. It's just funny.
Funny.
I wasn't expecting that.
Against your Christianity, how would you take them on, given what happened to Jordan?
Well, it depends on what you mean, Piers. Depends on what you mean.
You're better, man. Show him how it's done.
Well, it depends on what you mean.
See, that's how it's done, Jay.
How would I take them on? Well, I think there's a lot of different ways that you could critique an atheist position. Most of the time, I argue from the three branches of philosophy: epistemology, metaphysics, and ethics. Those are just the three branches of any worldview, and everybody has.
Did he say three branches of philosophy? And he left out
consciously or not. So I would critique the foundations of the atheist materialist worldview to see if it's rational, if it's coherent, if it can provide a justification for knowledge or ethical oughts. So I think that would have been a much better route. In fact, Peterson used to kind of take that approach when he debated Sam Harris. He would call out the is-ought problem with Sam Harris. When he debated Matt Dillahunty, he would call out the exact same types of preconditions for a worldview issue that I used to do, or I usually do. So I think that.
Have you ever seen that conversation?
What?
Matt Dillahunty and Jordan Peterson?
No.
Have you ever seen Richard Dawkins and Jordan Peterson?
I watched Richard Dawkins and Jordan Peterson, the one that was moderated by Cosmic Skeptic. Yeah, I watched that.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Didn't he have another?
That's the one. That's the one where, I mean, they may have had other ones. I saw them. I don't watch vast majority of stuff, even if it's people that I'm otherwise interested in. I usually watch something if something comes up and I'm like, oh, I want to make a video about that, or we're going to do a live stream or something like that. But yeah, I don't watch most stuff that comes out. But
so I'm actually right now in charge of the comments. So if I see any of those Nazi trolls, I'm just banning them right here. And David agrees with it. So
yeah, ban everyone if you want. What am I going to do?
I'm going to ban everyone, including
you have full control. AP has full control over my channel.
I'm going to ban all the moderators and all
everybody involved and humiliated. That's what you get.
I'm going to ban the moderators and subscribers and channel members too. Apple Baker, what will post-baptism dinner be? Sushi, pasta, barbecue, all. Bashi, please play medication, ginger going Marley. Yeah, no. Either will go, then AP is bored. I know I fell asleep, man. Cool, Bob. AP, there is still Islamic concepts you're having to unlearn as you continue your Christian faith and journey. Is there still? That you have to unlearn and relearn. Not very recently. I mean, it's mostly gone. I think the things that stuck most with me over the years were saying Bismillah before eating something.
Well, it was funny. I was going to make that up about you. I was like, oh, I saw him reading his Bible, and he starts off, Bismillah.
Then there were a big aversion to pork, which was like kind of paranoid. It's kind of weird. Things like that, but then they just went away.
Hey, it's funny. It's funny how that stuff gets ingrained in you. Like my wife, when I met her, she was a lapsed Catholic. She didn't believe anymore. She became an agnostic. But when she was about to eat, she would still do that thing.
That's funny.
I don't know what's that called. Does that have a name? You're not Catholic.
Sign of the cross.
Yeah, but it doesn't. That's it. They call it sign of the cross. There's no cool name for it.
Okay. It's just sign of the cross. It's just the Catholics do it the other way, like to left to right, and Orthodox do it right to left.
It was hilarious in the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. There's a character who it's funny because it's by Eli Wallach, who's a Jewish guy, but he's playing a Mexican guy. He's like really, really, really nasty, cold-blooded killer and stuff like this. But he would do it. He would kind of go like this. He'd go, kind of go.
That's funny. I think Catholics do this just the open hand thing, whereas Orthodox actually do something purposeful, which is like you do the three.
You hear this?
Fingers.
He said Catholics don't do anything purposefully. Okay. It's only Orthodox do.
Orthodox do.
You heard it. You heard it here, folks.
The two natures.
He's already becoming an anti-Catholic extremist.
Thanks for the advice. God bless that unapologetic apologist. Spent 24 hours with Momo or 24 hours with the men of Al-Zut. Says Holy Joe.
I'd go with Momo on that one because I could just beat the crap out of him if I had to.
Actually, Bob Marley died at 36. AP dies at 200. We good.
Nice.
Yeah. William Stein, congratulations on your baptism, AP. Also, where did you get your icons and what are your thoughts about Lutheranism confessional? I think, I guess Lutheranism is I'm not sure. It's like Anglicanism. I'm not sure what to do with it, but I think Lutheranism is among the Protestant branches the one that I would that I have most respect for. I would say
because of what he said about the Jews.
No, not. I mean, I have to make a distinction here. Lutheranism, I have respect for. Martin Luther, I have zero respect for. Honestly,
very rude. Not even for his testicular fortitude.
No.
Some people are pure balls, man.
He didn't really risk anything. He was like in no danger at all. Honestly, he didn't risk anything. He was like a wealthy dude who had a.
What if they sued him to repair the door?
Who lived on a huge ranch, who had all the money in the world, and yeah, so he didn't really risk anything. But for Lutheranism, I have respect because of the whole, traditional aspects of it and all that. So, however, where did I get my icons from? Legacy icons and Etsy and all that. That's it, pretty much. But thank you, I appreciate that, William. Holy Joe lights went out. The Mubala Chris, you see.
That wouldn't surprise me. Oh, Allah, David, what an AP by turning out the lights for 2 minutes.
Allah, Virgo, you see it's dark because the Al-Zut are here. I told you I was the real Mahdi, lights off.
Hey, how creepy would it be? The lights go out and all of a sudden the lights pop back on. We're surrounded by Al-Zut.
Yeah, I want to quickly get to Danny's super chatting, and then I want to continue watching the thing for a bit. Danny, if you want to get to know me and get my perspective, I'll accept an invite up. I'm more chill than you think, probably. Why are you trying to invite yourself?
I don't know how we can make it any clearer that we're not interested. And that's not just so. First initial reaction is, okay, you had a topic, you go completely off topic, and then you want attention with a gotcha moment. And in that, you tell Jordan Peterson he's nothing. Okay, not a good thing. But to be fair, there are all sorts of clips you can find of me where I sound like the biggest jerk on the entire planet. So I wouldn't hold that against someone forever. It's when you initially came in on the live stream we were doing and you showed up in there, you're like, let me in. Okay, you sounded like you're desperate for attention. So when someone's desperate for our attention, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't want to give them attention because that's what they're desperate for. But at kind of the end, I said, okay, well, tell us some topics you're interested in. Maybe we'll have you on for a topic. I was messaged by multiple people who said, dude, you don't know what you're dealing with this dude. He is pure toxic. Just stay away from him. And it's a couple of people I trust. It's a couple of people I trust. So
Tony,
anyway,
yeah. But just to make sure, I was just joking when I took a little jab. I pray the rosary, literally. This is as Catholic as it gets. But yeah, so Danny, here's the thing. I did even think about inviting you on for a different conversation, just to honor it. But honestly, in all honesty, at this point, I'm not really sure what I would be talking about with you. I mean, we're just looking at it because you are in the conversation, in the exchange, and we want to see how it goes. So I personally don't know what exactly I would invite you for and what I would talk with you about. And I'm not sure what you think about that. But
I'm not. This is the thing. This is not. Again, to be fair, there are tons of people who think I'm like the worst jerk. Muslims think that I'm like the biggest Islamophobe on the planet and stuff like that.
It's true. It's true.
But I don't go around, let me on your show. I understand most people don't want. There are tons of people who don't want to interact with me at all, just because they're like, oh, this guy's so mean. I don't want to interact with him. But that's up to everyone else, and I'm not interested in interacting with everyone on the planet.
You see.
You
see. Anyway, let's continue.
So plenty of channels that would be happy to have you on. I'm not interested.
I am one of them.
That'd be a better route than just sort of having this ambiguous, Jungian position of non-committal, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I would say to you, Parker and Danny, that I've interviewed Jordan Peterson a lot, maybe 5-6 times on Uncensored. Quite long interviews, often quite emotional. He's an emotional guy. I would disagree with Andrew about him losing his edge. I think he's still got the edge. I also think that, putting aside the whole debate about Christianity and whether he is or not, and he's always been oddly ambiguous about it to someone who's so unambiguous about everything else. But that's his right. He's entitled to do that. As a force for good, though, for young men, I do think that in comparison, for example, to Andrew Tate, that Jordan Peterson has been a far better influence over them.
Talking about.
I wonder if some people just get paid whenever they bring up Andrew Tate by Andrew Tate.
That'd be funny.
Like what?
Well, let me go search for Andrew Tate and check out his channel now.
What was the context here?
I think that in comparison, for example, to Andrew, but that's his right. He's entitled to do that. As a force for good, though, for young men, I do think that in comparison, for example, to Andrew Tate, that Jordan Peterson has been a far better influence over the minds of young men of your kind of age than someone like Andrew Tate would ever.
Even in this case, I think bringing up Andrew Tate and just drawing a comparison there, even this is good advertisement for Andrew Tate.
Yep. Like Andrew Tate probably heard that. Oh, no more people are going to search me. Maybe more people will find me and I'll be able to get more people.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he made contracts with a bunch of media people and say, oh, if you mention me, I will pay you this much money. I have lots of Bugattis and I can spare some money for you as well.
And if you disagree with me about Andrew Tate, you can find him at...
Ever be. Would you agree with that, Parker?
I actually would agree with that, although the bar is literally in hell.
Right.
That's good.
I mean, you must see some positives in the general messaging that Jordan gives for young men about wanting to improve their lives, wanting to empower themselves, opening up and so on. And do you...
Wait, so it's literally in hell?
He said it's in hell. Do you believe in hell? This is the proof.
Interesting.
Do you accept that about him?
I think it's good to open up, and I think it's good for like men to like want to improve their lives, but we also need to be very specific on like what is improving towards their lives. And I honestly don't think that like Jordan Peterson, like within all respects, would be upholding that. But sure, I can say he's better than someone like Andrew Tate. Like I think that's
I like this guy just because he's happy.
Well, the thing is, so Peter Parker, I wouldn't consider myself to be a person who should sit down and talk about men improving themselves. And from one guy who is not fit to do that, I would say that you are also not one of those people. So, yeah.
What? At least he's happy, man.
That's true.
Danny, what's your view of Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson when it comes to their influence on
he
young
seriously
men?
wants them to talk about
both
comparing
of them.
Andrew
I can
Tate
tell you,
and
when I
Jordan
walk
Peterson.
around, most people under 25 who are male, with both of them, and Jordan Peterson when it comes to their influence on young men, because it is huge.
Yeah,
with both of them, I can tell you, when I walk around, most people under 25 who are male come up and they ask me either about Andrew Tate or Jordan Peterson.
What?
Yeah, I feel like the question is like asking a Republican, is Joe Biden better than like Mussolini, right? I mean, it's such a vast difference. I would say that it seems like that Jordan Peterson has benefited people, mostly in the psychology realm, like, the whole 12 rules for life and stuff, which a lot of those rules seems to be rules that my grandma could tell me. But granted, the point is that, yeah, he's probably
I'm liking
people.
I'm liking Danny for 5 seconds.
And that was actually,
yeah.
That was not a bad point.
That was good.
That was not a bad point. Honestly, I think I've said something like that before myself. So. All right, here I agree with you. I agree with you, Danny.
All right, Andrew, let's turn to some other issues here. One is Pride Month. Now, my view of this is I don't understand why we need a whole month for Pride.
What in the heck?
Whoa! What is with the anti-LGBTQ stuff? Piers?
Wait a minute. This is the conclusion of the Jordan Peterson Christian topic. They didn't even talk about it, man.
I don't even get an hour.
It wasn't nearly as interesting as I thought it was going to be either.
They didn't even talk about it.
As a straight guy. So why do we need a month for Pride? And it's not because I'm
asking Andrew Wilson why we need an...
Well,
Wait,
Pride's always
clear. This is Piers Morgan. He gets Andrew Wilson on there to ask why we need an entire month for Pride Month. This is funny. Oh boy. And he went, wow. Here we go.
This is a good point.
I'm guessing fireworks now.
Sheikh al-Zud ibn Dihya said, does any of them have a Bugatti? This is a good point.
That is a good point.
They don't. So, yeah.
It's been completely astroturfed. I mean, to be honest, right from the very beginning, it's been astroturfed. It was always pumped full of government money, NGO funding. It was pumped full of corporate money. There was an article that came out, you can find in the Drudge Report, came out today from, I believe it was Daily Telegram. It was pretty interesting. they went over, you know, a lot of the modern Trump administration and what they have done with their executive orders. A lot of companies have begun moving away from trying to kind of fund this, and it hasn't been popular for the last couple of years anyway. There's been a lot of pushback on various large corporations, companies, and NGOs for trying to pump kind of artificially these organizations. One of the things that article points out, which I tend to agree with, is that, hey, look, ultimately, when these companies are doing this, people lose trust for them. You remember there was a big thing with Target not that long ago. Anytime this comes to light, there's actually a backlash. People can kind of.
This is true. There has been research on that. It is very solidly established, and honestly, you can feel the pulse of the population.
Yep.
When something like that happens, it is just especially, look, even people who are indifferent to it or who might be somewhat supportive of it, if random companies just start pushing this kind of stuff, and usually they do it in a very forced, completely unnecessary way.
Yeah.
It just becomes, it doesn't lead to good consequences.
Yeah, and I don't even when a company comes out in favor of whatever the position is, it could even be a position I agree with or something like that. Whenever they do that, I don't think, or if it's some position I disagree with, I don't think, oh, you hold this position that I do not hold to, now I don't trust you. It's more like you're jumping on some bandwagon and I don't trust you. That's why. Again, it wouldn't even matter if you're selling me shirts, then sell me freaking shirts. Don't. Anyway, it's annoying.
That's true.
To see that it's artificially held up. There's no reason for it. It's silly. It has never really been about gay rights. It's
what do you
been
mean
about
there's no
weird.
reason for it? What do you mean?
It's
what do you
been.
mean
It's been. Well, because it's always.
What do you mean there's no reason for it? Right? They're bullies like you.
Do
you want me to answer the question?
Do you hear Danny Peterson here? What do you mean?
Yeah, you go ahead, and I'll explain to you why I think there's a reason after.
Okay. Yeah. So there's no real reason for it. It's been about pushing sexual perversions. Never really been about anything to do with homosexuals themselves not having rights or having rights. It's never been about that. It's been about weird gay pride parades and all kinds of weird sexual stuff. It really has never been about that. And that's what the American people think. That's what they see. That's why you see companies moving away from it.
No, I don't think that's true. Look, they're gay people like let's take you, for example. You're the reason, right? When I first talked to you, right, we were having.
You just called them gay?
Oh, they've had a discussion before?
I guess so.
He just said when I first talked to you.
Having a normal debate about, I think, morality, and then you randomly asked me, "What's your, are you a homosexual?"
And you were, right?
Hang on. Now think about that. If you were having a debate on
that's Andrew.
Whatever the foundations of morality or something like that, and he's like, "Well, are you a homosexual?" Now imagine him trying to steer the debate into that direction and then kind of ignore the actual topic. That would be kind of frustrating, wouldn't it, Danny? Okay, you did something worse, because at least what he's saying now, if you're saying, are you homosexual? He could be trying to make a point and stuff like that with it. But anyway, you have a very short time, a very short 1 to 2 minute window of opportunity with Jordan Peterson, and you go into it and you don't even address the topic. Weak.
Down, right? And then
right?
also with.
But hang on, was I right though? Was I right?
I'm not homosexual. No, I'm married to a woman.
You said that you were bisexual. You said that you were bisexual. Right. That's homosexual.
Does not the same as bisexual.
There's certain ways.
Terms, but
look,
the point
there's certain ways that people conduct themselves.
People like you and Jay Dyer bully LGBT.
I mean, in this case, I agree with Danny.
What?
Yeah. Andrew insists that he's a homosexual, that he is gay, and he says, "No, I'm not."
Yeah, definition. If you are attracted to both men and women, that would make you bisexual, right?
Yeah. You wouldn't be. That wouldn't make you homosexual. Homosexual would be that you're.
You could say
attracted to men.
You could say you're. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's bullied.
Yeah, because of the kind of stigmas that you promote.
Okay, so here's the thing that's so funny about this is like if both me and Jay Dyer, both of us assumed that you were a homosexual, and both of us were right. That's what's so funny about it.
Again,
we both assumed you were gay, and we were both correct that you were gay.
Andrew, is there anything wrong with him being gay?
Huh?
Is there anything wrong with him being gay?
There's a problem with you guys supporting NGO-funded kind of AstroTurf program to promote rights, which aren't even about promoting rights.
Was that a response to what you said?
The whole ordeal here is, but well, what's the prompt, Parker? The prompt is about pride, and so you're supporting an astroturfed, completely astroturfed NGO funded thing. It has nothing to do with gay rights at all, and people don't like it, Parker. They don't like it, Parker.
Well, Parker,
So, I honestly wonder what the data on it actually is. Whether the prevalence of certain LGBT activism things in the long run give people a more positive or indifferent stance towards homosexuality, for example, or if they make no difference at all, or if they lead to more frustration against it, because it seems like lots of it causes some anger in people who don't like it. I don't know. I'm curious about the data on that a little bit more. Not the immediate response, but rather the long-term response to it.
Hey, you got to say though, right? Like Piers kind of knew what he was doing. Pierce will act like he doesn't want the drama, but he obviously does, right?
Always.
But so he gets them on there, and hey, we're going to talk about the Peterson thing, but it's kind of obvious that he picked Pride Month because he knew he had Andrew Wilson and Jay Dyer versus Danny and Parker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Come on, Piers.
Yeah.
I would ask Parker this. Look, Andrew, you said some things which I completely disagree with about this issue. You said women will never truly understand why men find homosexuality so depraved. We don't think there's a problem there. We know there's a problem there. I'm a man. I don't find homosexuality remotely depraved.
Sexuality. What do you think about sexuality?
There's nothing wrong with Muhammad.
Sexuality.
And the men of Al-Zut.
I mean, that is a, let's see what he says.
I think people's sexuality is what it is. So I don't agree with you with some of the statements you've made. However, Parker, I am increasingly bemused why, when there are so many important things in the world to worry about, we devote a whole month to gay pride. Why do we?
There are plenty of things that we specifically have months for to celebrate that I think are incredibly important. This, in this specific example, is incredibly important because of the dehumanization.
Is there any other thing that we devote a whole month to, which is being put into everyone's faces and like waved into everyone's faces, and everyone makes programs for it bigly and occupies streets for it and makes huge parades for it, which everybody has to hear, and so on. Honestly, not trying to go against your side right now, but seriously, is there anything else really that is comparable to Pride Month in that very same way? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I mean, you can have all sorts of different views on there. I'm usually I don't care what you're doing, but as far as this guy saying it's because of the dehumanization and we have to do does something like Pride Month help that? Like, are there people who are like, I can't stand all this LGBTQ stuff? Oh, never mind. They made a month out of it. Now I'm on board.
Now I feel better about it.
No, I want to do stuff. No, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see actual research on there, but I don't know. It's kind of if you're saying it's done to avoid dehumanizing people and stuff, I'd be interested on whether this actually works. That you have people who are opposed to the idea of whatever you're saying, and then we have a month now and we're going to wave this flag, and then they're like, oh, okay, we're good with it now.
Yeah, where's Christian month?
Yes, where's Orthopro month?
You see,
humanization and the bigotry espoused specifically by people like Jay Dyer and Andrew Wilson, and explicitly kicking people off of their panels because they're gay, right? Or because
quit kicking people off your panels, man.
Really? This is why we need
you have to talk to everybody regardless of their views.
And this is so ridiculous. Like, if you came into the discussion and said, yes, I believe we need a month because actually people around the world in many different places are being persecuted and directly, locked up, beaten, lynched, killed for being gay, and so on. We could be talking about this, but this is the issue. That is actually true. You could actually make that point, but you don't make that point. Because to you, Pride Month is all about, because people get mean treatment here. Really? That's why we need a freaking month. That's why we need parades.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do it in solidarity with all those people who get murdered for being gay in the Muslim world, for example, we could talk about that, right? But really, the thing that you think about here is, people get treated differently, and people are mean. Give me a break, man.
Yeah, I mean, people have a negative view of the men of Al-Zut because of what they did to Muhammad. Doesn't mean we need a whole month, right, to humanize the men of Al-Zut.
Zut month.
Zut month. Yeah, we need a Zut Pride month. Zut month.
They're homosexual, which I think is incredibly ridiculous.
But you know, right? As well as I do, Parker,
can I please finish?
If you compare it,
Piers?
look, well, hang on. I would say, if you go back 35, 40 years, I would completely agree with you. But the idea that that is still the case today, I just don't feel it. Do you? I mean, certainly young people in particular do not. It's just moved
Piers,
on.
Respectfully, how would you know as a straight person? Like, how would you? Do you experience
Piers,
it?
look,
why are you assuming my sexuality?
I want to talk about Piers. I want to talk about my experience.
You talked about it.
Everyone laughed.
Piers, when I went viral, right?
Dyer laughed. Everyone simultaneously laughed except Danny. 4 panelists laughed except Danny. You know, AP.
It's kind of weird. He basically said that he might be gay.
You know, that was interesting right there. Like, as far as what we were talking about, okay, suppose you had people who are against LGBTQ stuff. Like, do you think having a month would actually fix that? And then Piers is like, okay, it's not 40 or 50 years ago. I mean, are you guys getting beaten up in the streets and stuff like that? Or people do? And I thought, well, it occasionally happens, anti-gay hate crime or something like that. But then I thought, wait a minute, if you want to talk about like the hate crimes, like Jews are the biggest target, right? As far as like a group.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about that. Imagine we said, there are lots of people who have a problem with Jews. You know what we need? A Jew month. We need Jew month to combat all of the. Would that help? Would that would the people who really would this make the Nick Fuentes's of the world be like, now they got a month. Well, now I have to like them. Now I have to like the Jews. It's like, what would that actually help? It seems like it would tick off more people.
It probably wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, what I think what it would do it would reinforce. You see, we told you they were controlling the media and everything, and now they got their own month. But that's kind of the same thing with the LGBTQ. Like, the people who really have a problem with it, like they've got their agenda and they're trying to infiltrate and put it on all our kids and stuff like that. And then you go have a Pride month and you have all the little kids waving pride flags and stuff. It's like, okay, you're kind of confirming what they were most concerned about, namely that you want to like spread it all over the place and like throw it in people's faces. Anyway, I don't know.
Christians are the most persecuted religious group in the world. We know
that's why we should have like 6 Christian months.
Maybe we should. Maybe December should be declared Christianity month or something like that. In line with Christmas and all that. And then we should have Christian parades everywhere. How about that?
We definitely need Hug a Jew month.
Hug a Jew.
Hug a Jew.
Hug a Jew.
And Nick Fuentes and all the groypers, they have to go out, find a Jew, and hug him.
Yeah. Or we need to have a Christian year. And we could do that every year.
Yeah, we need a whole Christian year every year.
Yeah. Saying, calling me the F slur, saying I had a gay lisp, right? When I'm married to a woman, right? If I'm not even a homosexual, and if people are bullying me for that, I can't imagine what actual homosexuals have to go through. So
what is, if you don't mind me asking, given it's now been,
do you know what they're going through, dude? Your example is literally social media, man. Did you check social media for the gay content? I mean, don't check it.
Here's the thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what Danny experiences, but when you're asking, why do we need an LGBTQ month or Pride month or something like that? It's because look how I'm treated. Okay, how are you treated? What is your example of how horribly you're treated? People disagree with you on social media.
People say the F.
Guess what? People disagree with Jay Dyer on social media. People disagree with Andrew Wilson on social media. People disagree with Piers Morgan on social media. People disagree with us. Do we need a month? Do we need a month because people disagree with us? Anyway, I don't know what to do.
Sort of raised, and I'm not quite sure. Are you straight? Are you bisexual? What's the deal?
I'm bisexual. I've been married to a woman happily for 5 years, and we're monogamous.
Okay.
Why are we talking about
Big atheists. I want to chime in. We have two gaytheists on the panel and that have said that I bullied
like this
them.
Kind of behavior. Look at this behavior.
That's called a joke.
This is why we
need called a joke. Sensitive man.
So funny, Dyer.
Oh my God! Look at this behavior.
This behavior is out of control.
You are two gaytheists.
It's too much bad behavior.
Wait, I'm sorry.
What he was doing. Look
Are
at
you
Piers
guys Christians? I thought we're supposed to be loving to thy neighbor.
Look at Piers.
The only thing
is telling you when it's wrong.
Don't you love trans people, Parker? You said that you would date a trans person. Remember that?
And what's wrong with that?
I think that
what's wrong with that?
I guess you are more loving than me, than Parker. I wouldn't date a trans person.
Okay, is that supposed to be like a critique of me?
I mean, think about this. Pierce is grinning. Pierce knew what he was doing. I'm getting two. I don't know what Parker is. Is he bisexual too? Is that? I think someone said that in the chat. So anyway, you got two bisexuals and two guys who are just gonna call them gaytheists and stuff like that. And then Pierce is sitting there grinning. Pierce knew what he was doing. I mean, Pierce knew what he was. I'm gonna get these two bisexual guys on these two bisexual atheists on here, and I'm gonna get these two orthodox guys on here, and I'm just gonna sit back and watch, and grin and giggle. Come on, Pierce. Come on. Let me put it this way, Pierce. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But he always acts like, I don't like that. I don't like the drama and everyone arguing. Anyway, powerful.
So the problem is that these guys can't give an account
as Christians. I called for you as Christians to be loving.
All they've
both
talked
of you did
about
not show loving.
You don't know what loving means. You don't even know what that means.
Let's not talk over each other because no one can ever hear. Jay.
Yeah. So earlier in the first section, when we talked about Peterson, we were talking about what was good for men.
Yeah.
And whether Tate was good or Peterson was good. And now we're talking about ethics in the sexual domain, which there's no basis in their worldview for anything to be morally, objectively right or wrong, other than their personal preferences. So if there's nothing objectively wrong, there's no reason why bigotry is wrong. Why is bigotry wrong?
Well, I want support your claim. Don't run from your claim. Support it. Right? We have no. You're saying we as atheists have no basis of morality. Support that.
Yeah. No epistemic basis for getting an ought from an is.
Yeah, that's a claim. Okay. Well, you're saying atheists.
No, it's an argument. It's a famous argument.
Right? You're saying that atheists can't account for morality. So what's the argument for that?
What do you mean? If you want to prove them wrong,
an ought from an is the argument. Back to Hume.
It looks like you don't know what an argument is. Come on, reason.
Did you just say you don't know what an argument is? Wait, yeah, okay, couple things. One, this is actually interesting.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Look at Jay.
One line of reasoning to another.
Jay is actually fun. Dude, I had no clue. Every time I've ever seen him in some little clip, he's like dead serious. So I thought that's how he was. Anyway, so this is actually an interesting topic, but we all know why Jay would say you have no foundation for your claims in your worldview. Why? We know kind of what's required for a moral obligation. Unless you think that something way less significant can explain why you have a moral obligation. Like if you wanted to say, if society tells you that you have a moral, unless you're talking about that, but that's not going to be what Jay or Andrew would regard as a moral obligation or something like that. And so if you wanted to respond to that, you would just have to say, and it's good that Danny has a background in philosophy, it should just be, no, I have this as a moral foundation for my claim that bigotry is wrong or something like that. But it's just weird. It's just weird to say you have nothing in your worldview that accounts for morality. Oh yeah, prove that there's nothing in my worldview that accounts for morality. Well, no, if I'm wrong, then you have to say what it is, because I don't know what it could be. So he could say it like that. I am not aware of anything within an atheist framework that would account for morality. I've never been able to think of anything that could function like that. Okay, so if I'm wrong, then show me what I'm wrong. Show me what in your worldview could account for morality. But maybe he's about to do that. So this may actually be interesting.
Noise.
Do you know what an argument is?
You cannot get an ought from an is. You're an atheist. In a materialistic worldview, there's no ought.
What does that have to do with atheism?
In a materialistic, atheistic worldview, there are no oughts.
First of all, I'm not a materialist.
You don't know the basic problem of ought from is?
That's just another claim. That's just another claim.
Not a claim, it's an argument. It's a famous historical.
Look,
you don't know the difference between a claim and an argument.
Claim, you can't defend it.
It's an argument. It goes back to David Hume.
Can you tell us what an argument is?
You didn't even know that.
Right?
You don't know the difference between.
Look what just happened. Look what just happened. This guy said.
What just happened is that you didn't know the difference between an argument and a claim.
Why are you over talking to me? Why are you scared? Let me talk. Right? You just claimed that atheists don't have a foundation of morality. I asked you to defend it, and then you said you can't get an ought from an is. What the heck?
That's the argument. That's
where are you going to get from that premise, right? You can't derive
that. It's an argument.
From...
It's not a premise. It goes back to David Hume. You just didn't know that.
Okay, can we get look? I think we're moving slightly off topic. Let's bring it back to Pride Month.
No, yeah. So think about this, guys. So if you're an atheist, okay, a moral obligation. Moral obligations are basically put as commands, like do not murder. That sounds like a command. Do not murder. It sounds like an order, right? Your moral obligations are stated as commands. And so what is there in an atheist framework that could be issuing these commands that are authoritative? Do not do this, but do this. What is there in an atheistic framework that explains that? I understand in a theistic framework what basically the author of those commands are, the lawgiver. I understand that. I have no idea what you could say from an atheist. And I used to teach philosophical ethics, so I know the claims. But if you have something that we've never heard of that would account for moral obligations, I would love to hear it. But you can't just say, "Oh, prove that I don't have a." What are you talking about? I've never seen anything. So what are you talking about? It's like saying. It's like imagine someone saying, "Oh, you're an atheist. You don't even believe in heaven." Okay, prove to me I don't believe in heaven. What are you talking about? What is there in your worldview that would make heaven or hell or anything? It doesn't make sense, right? So anyway, yeah, a moral obligation is. I mean, just think, what is that? It's not material. You don't discover a moral obligation with a microscope or a telescope or something like that. So you're not getting at it like that. Where is it? Where is it? And why would you believe that you actually have one? If you're rejecting God, why would you believe you also have moral obligations that you have to follow? That's the point. You can kind of systematically go through the options. Okay, either you think human beings are just wired this way from our evolutionary history, but guess what? That's not a moral obligation. You could be wired completely differently to do different things. That wouldn't make that moral. Not in the sense of a moral obligation. So you can't just be the way you're wired. Well, what else could it be? Is it society? Well, societies have taught completely different things. So it can't be society. What is it? That's the point. If you say, "Hey, I've gone through everything I can think of in your worldview that could possibly account for morality," I can't think of anything. So you don't have anything. The only way to refute that is to say, "No, here's something that you haven't thought of that does account for our moral obligations." But I don't know. Anyway.
Well, here's something.
I want to play something which has had a lot of people talking on social media. This is Sesame Street, where all the puppets are holding hands, making up the pride flag. And they say, "On our street, everyone is welcome. Together, let's build a world where every person and family feels loved and respected for who they are. Happy Pride Month." I guess I would say, Parker, again, the problem with this is it's this kind of enforced virtue signaling. It reminds me in a way, for very different reasons, the day in the George Floyd fallout, when everyone had to do a black square on their Instagram, or somehow they were racist. And I refused.
That is a good example.
Everyone called me a racist. I went, why does putting a black square on my Instagram make any difference to anything? Again, with this, if you don't go along with the Pride Month stuff, then somehow you must be homophobic, is the kind of way this all seems to work. And I don't like that. I don't understand why we have to have any more these enforced things where everywhere you go for a whole month, everything's pride. Why? Why can't everyone just get on with their lives?
Well, before we get to that, let me play this stupid ad here. I mean, that is a thing. This whole empty, forced virtue signaling really...
I don't like any of that. I don't even like that if it's something I agree with.
Yeah.
There's, "Hey, you have to say it. You have to say it." Like people storm people in restaurants and say, "You have to say this." No, I don't care. I don't care what you were telling me to say. I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say it if you're ordering me to say it.
I don't.
Like, a way that I would respond to this is by saying that because of the bigotry and dehumanization that exists in our society, it's important to have these things for acceptance, to decrease the level of bullying that exists in our society, targeted towards the LGBT.
How are you going to achieve that with
Dude, it doesn't do that. I mean, what is... How are people's relations with the LGBTQ community better because of Pride Month? I'm not aware of anything that would support the claim.
To be honest, maybe it might be useful in brainwashing future generations by teaching that to children in a forced way. Honestly.
LGBTQ plus community. Now, no one's saying that you have to go to Pride, Piers. No one's saying that you have to involve yourself with Pride. When I go outside, I live in Los Angeles. I don't see rainbow flags everywhere. So I'm confused what you're talking
about.
In Los Angeles,
you must be joking. You can barely move in Los Angeles. I've got a house in Beverly Hills. You might as well put a Pride flag over the whole place.
Just burn them up.
I'm sorry. I've been to those areas. Pride flags aren't everywhere. And when you live in Beverly Hills.
They're not everywhere. I saw a few spots where there are no Pride flags.
I saw a dark corner of an alley where there was no Pride flags, so you've been refuted, Piers.
Literally, yeah. There's no Pride flags everywhere.
I do like how Parker's still grinning, though. He seems like a joyful fellow.
Right, that's specifically like not even right next to downtown, so that's where most of the rainbow flags would be. If you've actually been to LA recently.
It's my serious point to you. If you actually want to do something constructive, to say the trans community, for example, wandering around with LGBTQ plus, and no one can ever remember now how many letters and digits there are on these.
You just said it.
It gets it gets bigger and bigger. And I've seen one with 2 in it and all sorts of stuff, a 2-spirit, whatever. It's all.
It is IA plus.
Yeah, I know, but then there's 2 and everything. It gets ridiculous.
The plus accounts for everything else, Piers.
Yeah. I agree with this comment here.
Hold up, is there a Z for Zoot?
There should be. To be honest, I don't like how Piers is ganging up on his guests and picking sides. I don't think this makes him look very bad. He does this. He does this on every show, every episode. He has a side picks. I mean, here in this case, he's clearly on the side of Jay and Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, at least on this
he cuts
issue,
off the other side more frequently and gives them more time.
And he talks more instead of letting these guys talk.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You've got 4 panelists, and Pierce is the one talking the most here.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
He does that whether he agrees with me or not. This is just terrible on his behalf. So he's clearly not running a good talk show where 2 sides actually agree, argue with each other properly.
Yeah, and the idea is, it's one thing to have a talk show where you're the host and you're there to talk to people, right? You could be talking a bunch there. If you're hosting a debate between 2 sides, then you're supposed to be like a moderator and to keep things on track, not be the one who's arguing with everybody.
This is supposed to be 2 versus 2. That's what it is.
Yeah, and it's 3 versus 2.
It's 3, yeah.
And this is the problem with these things. It's never ending. It's like there were 2 genders, then there were 10, then there were 80, then there were 100. All of it's nonsense to me. However,
it wasn't like this,
however,
then that,
if you want to think that, it's a free world. Here's my point. If you actually want to make a constructive difference to, say, the trans community and trans rights and protect trans people, then the absolute worst way to go about that is the way that the trans lobby has tried to do it, by eroding women's rights.
Is this interesting at all? This is just Piers and Peter Parker going back and forth.
That's kind of annoying. But Pierce made an important point, right? Like, this is a bad way to go about it, specifically with the trans stuff, right? Like, if you instantly start, these biological males need to be racing against your daughters. Okay, you're ticking off a lot of people that you didn't need to tick off, right? If you just kind of gone along and, hey, we want to be respected like everyone else. Okay, you could have actually completely, totally won that one and won people over to your side. Instantly, you have to be throwing it in people's faces and we're going to get you canceled if you disagree with us and stuff like that. You made enemies where you didn't have to make enemies.
There is another section which is Pride a Sin, which strikes me as a ridiculously stupid section, which I wouldn't personally want to listen to because I'm going to end up saying dumb, bad stuff.
Okay, is there anything that's actually interesting?
Because it strikes me like a conversation that is like where the religious side would. And this is what Jordan Peterson does. He's like, Pride Month is bad because pride is a sin. I'm sorry, that's a stupid argument.
Yeah, that would be stupid. I don't know if that's what anyone's arguing, but that would be stupid.
Jordan Peterson actually says that, and I don't understand how such an intelligent and
that's dumb.
Why he would say dumb stuff. It's very stupid, you know.
Yeah.
It's very stupid.
Yeah, that's dumb. It's like I'm proud. It's like I'm proud to be an American. Oh, pride's wrong.
My son, you did a good job. I'm proud of you.
Kind of proud.
Oh, you can't be proud. Pride is a sin.
Pride comes before a fall. See?
The lights of Al-Zut never go dim, said Saraf. How about this? We'll read some super chats and then we can watch the final section, which is Return of the R-Word debate.
Yeah, we should. That'd be good.
Okay. You see,
the lights of Al-Zut.
Apostle of Allah, I learned professionalism from you guys.
That you learn from the best.
That's good, man. That's
learn from the best, not from the rest.
That's good. That's good. Robbie Hatmaker, maybe use your wig money on the electricity bill. Bob Carlo, be careful in the dark. Momo the Ho is not here to take one for the team. This is true. EP, du bist heute sehr hübsch, meine Honigmelone.
We need to make not like a 2-hour movie, but like a 30-minute YouTube horror movie about the Night of Al-Zut.
Yeah.
You can't show anything and stuff like that, but it needs to be like a horror movie.
That sounds like a terrible thing to make.
Well, because keep in mind, some of the possible views are, one, that these are jinn, and even then, jinn are kind of physical beings that can be like invisible. So they could have also banged him, even if that's the meaning. But Raymond Ibrahim pointed out that one of the possible meanings of the word that's translated as rode or mounted him is possessed, if it's used of spirit beings. So we could have a horror movie where it's the men of Al-Zut and they're sort of climbing all over him but possessing him, and so we could avoid
that still sounds
some of the
bad,
other
man.
issues.
Climbing all over him and possessing him.
Yeah, possessing him. Oh, we possessed you all night long. They possessed his rear end.
Ida goes and all those jinns, you see, they got to fight.
Yep.
You know, in Shoshan, would you guys say the UK would end up becoming a Muslim country? By the way, much love from Israel. I wouldn't say it would become a Muslim country. I would say it would get to a certain state where there would be an attempt by parts of the population to create a separate entity inside the United Kingdom, or to separate from the nation and create a Muslim nation or an Islamic nation on the British Isles. And I think that this is actually not very far-fetched. I think it's very, very much, it is inevitable that there will be some really bad stuff in the future, I would say, in the UK, on the British Isles. And that seems to be one of the possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Muslims are still a small percentage of the UK population, but in certain cities, they're huge percentages of the population in certain cities. So it's kind of a matter of time before we want Sharia in London and so on. And that is an issue with Islam, in that as their numbers grow, they push harder. And so they don't need 50% of the population to push really hard. They're already pushing hard. If the population goes up another percent, guess what? They're going to be pushing even harder, and people are going to catch on. I don't believe the UK is going to become a Muslim country. I just think you're going to end up with a bloodbath because they keep not dealing with the situation.
Cool, Bob. David, do you think AP and Nabil would have been friends? And 2, if the 3 of you were friends, who would get teased, bullied the most? Well, David would get bullied the most, obviously, but
yeah, everyone always picks on the coolest guy, which is me. But yes, AP and Nabil would have been friends.
Probably, yeah. The android sent by CyberLife, off topic, but at home. I'm surrounded by Christian hyper-charismatic craziness, borderline Gnosticism. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Please pray for me.
Pray for you? What, you want us to pray that all these people around you die or something? That would be kind of messed up. We pray that the android sent by CyberLife, that all the Christians around die. Horrible bloody test, and they fall off a cliff, so they don't have to be annoyed by their craziness.
You see,
we just hang out with different people.
The Prophet Allah Vergu says, "Hey, heroes wear super suits. I will pray for you, androids sent by CyberLife." Yeah, super suits wear you out. This is true. Super suits. Japister, when will Zeitschrift Uncensored die off? Piers Uncensored. Wow. Should die off very quickly. I wish. I will pray for it tonight. Ground Ritter, I'm also 32. I challenge Danny to Mubahala.
And on behalf of Danny, I accept.
Ooh, there you have it. Ida Rogozin, AP, I feel vaulted. You're naked without your wig.
It's naked. Sacre Nike.
You're naked without your wig and glasses. Put them on. Won't let me send message without changing the spelling. Oh, because it's naked? That's funny. Oh, get naked. I'm going to make another super chat for get naked. Yeah, it's to prevent it.
That's funny that it rhymes. Look at that. Der militante Atheismus ist so kaputt, Wie Mohammed nach einer Nacht mit den Al-Sud. It rhymed. German words are the only ones that rhyme. Like, yeah.
German,
they have the same sound.
German is actually a very good language to make good rhymes. It's good stuff. Erizia says, hey, David and AP, any special plans for holes in the narrative? When is that?
I think that's Sunday. So yeah,
really?
This whole week is actually throwing this off. We wanted to do something special and then we can't. Hey, Hatun actually had the awesome idea. You've got the hadith where the Quran appears as a pale man, but she wanted to do something which I would have been glad to do it. It's just didn't have time and now it's too late. But so the Quran appears as a pale man. But we wanted to do, we're going to have to wait till next year. Wanted to do something where the Quran appears as a pale man, but he's like all messed up and like missing an arm and he's had the crap beat out of him and stuff. Because think about all the stuff they did to it over the year. I mean, passages were eaten by a sheep or a goat. Uthman burned all of the copies of the Quran and had to issue the authoritative ones and so on. And then you get down to the 1924 Cairo edition, and supposedly they took all the copies of the Quran that didn't line up, and they drowned them in the Nile and so on. So I think they're like, this is what Muslims are doing to the Quran after over all these years. Their sheep are eating it, they're burning it, they're drowning it, and like, so if the Quran appears as a pale man, think about how messed up this dude's going to be. So anyway, probably have to get a professional makeup artist if we want me to be completely, utterly, totally mangled based on the horrible way I've been treated. But yeah, we'll come up with something for next year.
You've been unzooted. Nick H. Danny looks like a young Jordan Peterson.
That's why he's jealous.
He does, actually.
That's why he's so mad.
Ida Rogozin, maybe we should look for Spider-Man instead. Yeah, we should. The Ghost of R says, just got here. Is David drunk? Just kidding. It's a good look. He looks like ramen.
Well, it's funny. AP always dresses up like stuff. So then I put on one of his dumb wigs and stuff, and then he takes his off so he looks normal. And now I look like an idiot. Imagine someone tuning in for the first time. They've never watched this and like, who's this dork?
Nick H should bring Danny on. No. Tweak 87. Jordan is pointing out that slogans and brands have had their semantics overloaded. This is true. Jeremy says, if the trajectory continues, the universe will be ruled by a sentient lasagna-preaching presuppositional logic from a colander throne. Colander throne.
That's true.
Yeah. Graunritter says, Jordan Peterson believes in the Bible in an indirect way, but we cannot let him off the hook. JP wants to, the Bible is useful for society, but the useful only part makes him very uncomfortable. So he makes all these dodges. Interesting.
Well, no, I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, when you're in a discussion with Cosmic Skeptic and he keeps trying to pin you down, you keep trying to evade it, and then eventually after 20 minutes of him pressing, you kind of give your answer. That's one thing. As far as Jubilee, if you say, hey, here's the topic, and we only have a few minutes to address this topic, and you say, oh, I want to talk about what you believe about Christianity, and it's not the topic. I don't know. I just think that's completely justified not wanting to get into that discussion right there. I mean, think about anything else you might want to bring up in that context.
That's very true, man. Very, very true. Carl Vorey says, Parker looks exactly like Jason Lyle, which is to say Mike Winger looks cooler and less nerdy than him. Who's Jason Lyle? Who's Jason Leasley?
Is he that creationist dude? I don't know. I forget.
I don't know. Oh, Mother Holder says Peterson's health issues took a toll on his speaking agility. It's better now, but different than before. Powerful. Arctic Base, the Daily Wire. Do you identify as Pastafarian now in some sense?
Orthofarian.
Yeah, it's Orthofarian. See?
I'm converting to Orthofarianism.
Bill Rami says, when you get older, you mellow. So be it are based. So be it is indeed powerfully, super fully based. Water Gang LTD. Boom.
Club Profit.
And Jay and Drew are my dream wrecking crew to make an obnoxious anti-Christian brat to take on obnoxious anti-Christian brats on a secular international platform. Onward, author soldiers. Who is Drew?
Do people call him Drew? Andrew? Or a different Drew?
You call Andrew Drew?
Do people call Andrew Drew? Or is there someone else we're missing?
Probably Andrew. Jack Ray. Argue through Mubahala logic. Mubahala logic. Skyscraper philosopher. Not a huge fan of Dyer, but his Dilla Monkey song is absolutely hilarious. Song he made mocking Dilla Hunty.
I gotta check this stuff out. That just sounds funny already.
You gotta do that. Grauenritter AP. I will cook the most haram clam chowder combo.
Based.
Do it. Eric Barlow. AP. Are you planning on getting an anthologian from Ignatius Orthodox Press? Anthologian from Ignatius Orthodox Press. I'm not an EO, but I have a copy myself. I don't know. I never looked into it. I'll make a note of it right here.
Don't do it.
All right.
You don't need to actually make a note. You just take a screenshot, man.
I don't want to take a screenshot. Robert Michaels, AP, could you recount your first time eating pork? Yeah. It was very scary. I want to forget it because I've had that nightmare again and again of that one time that I had pork for the first time.
Really?
No.
Do you remember eating pork for the first time?
I'm not sure if I remember the first time, but I think I do. I think I do. And I thought, this is very, very weird. And I was kind of worried about it. Yeah. We Byzantine Catholics also do the sign of the cross from cross like that, based. Yeah,
very
that's
based.
true.
Very
that's
based.
True. You do it like the Orthodox, don't you? Avinav, Byzantine Catholics like Melkite and Ukrainian Greek Catholic do the sign of the cross like the Eastern Orthodox. See, another one. You see, this is true. Now we have two confirmations now that we know it's true. Philippi, are you going for Indiana Packers or OKC Thunder?
It's Pacers.
Packers.
Neither one. Don't care.
What is Indiana Packers?
The basketball team.
Oh, okay. Why are they called Packers? Skyscraper philosopher, CMAT, Dilla Monkey, Soulful Darwinian Choir Mix. Should check it out. Dev, Danny clearly wants to clip farm again with you too. Glad you didn't fall for it. Yeah, we don't do that stuff. If you go on ever, I see that he goes everywhere, wherever somebody makes a live stream about him and mentions him, he's like, oh, invite me on. That's pretty weird. Ban, yo AP, how much is your water baptism? Need to compare between Catholic and Orthodox to give the best deals for receiving the Holy Spirit and his gifts. Thought Jesus paid it all, but I guess not. Yeah, so I'm paying $50,000 for my baptism. What are you talking about? What money, man? There's no how much. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, there's no amount of it. Sheep Squad, my friend is a Said, descendant of Momo, and I'm a Jet, descendant of the Azut. So does this my ancestors wrote my friends? Yes, it does. It literally does. Hi, Burst Barbecue. I love you guys. Thank you very, very much.
Glad someone does.
Finally, man. Finally, I thought nobody would say it. Last spicy ramen, AP coming to orthodoxy, truth, justice prevailing over the brainwashing and undoing the damage of his Pontian Ottoman ancestors were subjected to by Islam.
It's Otterman. Get it right.
Yeah. The Ottomans did some really, really bad things to the Greeks. Jack Ray, oh no, I just realized who Parker reminds me of. Daniel Pikachu. Watch how he smiles when he's stressing Daniel-like. Put a beard on him and all.
I don't know. He may just be happy. Yeah, Hakikachu smiles when he starts getting nervous. He has a nervous grin.
Yeah. Who cares? The whole panel hates Israel, says Josh. They do? I don't know. Piers certainly does. I would say the most anti-Israel person here on this panel is probably Piers Morgan. Machina, today's 6/6 on the 6th day of the week. You see?
This is the proof.
Hobocop, we need a month for bacon cheeseburgers. Heck yeah.
Darn right.
Actic Base, fun fact. In the NT, Jesus says nothing about homosexuality, but he says a lot about hypocrites. Few, if any, hypocrites were burned at the stake. Powerful.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, directly, but he does say things like God created them male and female and things like that. So,
yeah, Chad Winger, the ultimate Dawa destroyer. Need wingerphobia month to stop wingerphobes like David Wood.
That's true.
Xeroxide says, dudes on the left must be fun at parties. Yeah, you mean the atheist, yeah. Jamaican Dyer, hey, David Wagwan, man.
What up? Me come from me motherland and me fatherland.
It's Jamaican Dyer.
They made a Jamaican.
Jamaican. E&M Creations, Piers loves it when Andrew mocks them. He can't treat his guests like that, but he can let Andrew be the scapegoat. He loves it when Andrew mocks them.
That's what someone can do. You can always bring on a guest who pushes harder than you, and you want them to do it, but you can't because you don't want people coming after you. So that could be the case. That is possible indeed.
Yeah. Last spicy ramen. Since the very humble live mubahala bardu. What? Since the very humble
live mubahala
between J Dyer and AP. J Dyer got funnier. Bro doesn't hold back and keeps his cool. Didn't know Denise is a zoot boy. Yeah, no, J Dyer has always been kind of funny. He's always had that funny side about him.
Oh, he's saying after he talked to us, he got funnier.
No, I don't know. There was also the last time that he went live talking about I think it was during the elections of the Pope or something. He joined a panel and he was kind of funny in a way and started joking about Katy Perry. It was interesting. I guess that's why Piers Morgan liked him. LOL, my last soup chat went down like mowing a loot. J. Macon Dyer says, after that debate, me need a little spliffy cool me head. You see it?
Cool runnings, man. Cool runnings.
Dawa troll. Danny must join the Al-Zut or else he's a bigoted homophobic. You see, he probably wanted to come up and talk because he wanted to fix humiliation. Probably. To Groknak, these two have assumed that their ethic is the normative one and that the burden of proof is the other side. A lot of atheists do this. It's silly. This is very rude toward atheists.
But very correct.
Last spicy ramen. Why Dawood is wearing cooked ramen? Because it's cool. Josh Villagumith, everyone pray for Israel. Do so. Holy Joe, if you want to make a film about Momo and the Al-Zut, recruit male fans who are of Jat descent to make it more authentic.
That would be funny. Can you imagine the casting call when I put out the word, I need a bunch of men who are descendants of the men of Al-Zut. I want the Jat tribe.
AP, be careful. There's an Al-Zut behind you. Oh, I was West South Currency shamed on IP's channel. Interesting. Huff. LOL motion. Would there be Christians in the West if gospel was promoted in the same way as LGBT is? Would there be more Christians in the West if gospel was promoted in the same way as LGBT is?
Yeah, the idea there is everything that's kind of like normal and traditional is attacked, and then you're supposed to be ashamed of it. And then like anything that's different is to be praised and celebrated.
Dyer is actually live now reviewing the debate. You see, he's copying us.
Yeah, he's trying to be like us.
He's copying us.
He's like, hey, David and AP are going live, though. I must go live too.
Oh, Michael Hill just got here. Why is there a Rastafarian spaghetti monster here?
No one knows.
He's orthofarian, man.
Orthofarian, get it right.
Get it right. Ash McClure, guys, I have to step away from my PC. My kid is running around upstairs, and I can hear him. His mom is away today, and I have to go check on him really quickly. We'll be back. Thank you for letting us know. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Well, it's funny because that's what I said the other day, right? Because it's true.
Oh yeah.
I heard my kid running around. Now there was a nurse downstairs with my son with a disability, but yeah, I was supposed to put him to sleep at 9, and then it was like I don't remember what it was, 9:45 or 10 or something like that, and I hear thump 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 thump. I was like, oh, I forgot to put him to bed.
Arctic base, David Wood, AP. What's your opinion of Ray Banana Comfort?
Never really followed him, but I mean, I don't know. He's been doing evangelism and stuff on college campuses for forever. And so big up to me, man. Ray Comfort.
I don't know anything about him except for the banana argument. And some people still say it was actually a joke, but other people say it was clearly not a joke. It was meant to be a serious argument. And I don't know. That's all I know about him. I don't know anything else about him. Byzantine Warrior. Hey, what's up, Byzantine Warrior?
Byzantine Warrior!
AP, wishing you the very best for your baptism. We will now be Orthodox brothers. You have an entire Orthodox world praying for you. For those who are baptized into Christ have put on Christ. Hallelujah. Thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. David Wood, I hope you're taking notes. LOL.
Yes. Here we go.
Yeah, so David, this is how you do it. Look, three fingers, and the tool you do down here. Then you do this in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You got that?
Oh yeah, chapter and verse from the Bible.
You jotted it down.
Chapter and verse.
You jotted it down.
Chapter and verse.
You jotted it down. Okay, good. It's gonna be super based. It's gonna be super based. In fact, when David sees the baptism happening, he's gonna be like, "Wait a minute, I want to be dunked too. Wait a minute, I want to jump in that water. I want to do it too." And the priest will be like, "No, you're not even a catechumen yet." And he will say, "I don't care.
You're not even fit to be a catechumen yet."
And he will jump.
To start over. I'll be like, "But I've been a Christian since the 90s. Too bad. You have to start as a catechumen."
And he will jump into the water. Josh Villa Gomez, this is a
that would be like a funny video, like the priest is about to baptize someone and someone else like runs and dives in his place.
Yeah, the funny thing is you wouldn't need to be baptized, so yeah. I guess that's that. Nikki, that's what they do to people who have already been baptized. They do chrismation, which is just like certain prayers and a thing, a cross, signs and stuff like that. That's if you already got baptized.
Based.
But I never got baptized. Is the current open and accepted hatred for Jews going to keep getting worse as it seems to be getting exponentially worse? Feel worried and hopeless, says Nikki.
It could.
There are lots of things that are being very, very much normalized, such as mainstream influencer figures directly teaming up or getting together with open, outright neo-Nazis who explicitly and openly praise Hitler and praise the Holocaust and wish death upon all Jews and so on. You have stuff like this going on. You do have very popular narratives of people going outright into the direction of fascism and preaching against all Jews and all that. The good thing is that you have that nowadays you have Israel, a nation that actually defends itself as they should, and you have nations that no longer will allow an outright campaign to do bad things collectively to Jews. But yeah, so right now there's the atmosphere is pretty bad, and much of it is influenced by the public narratives on social media that are pushed by Muslims and socialists and anti-Israeli campaigns in general. But I don't know. Nobody can tell the future. Pray and hope.
One more thing you forgot. Yeah. You got us here.
Yeah.
You got us. We were already an unstoppable force for crushing Jew haters everywhere.
Yeah.
But now AP's about to be baptized. So now he will be more powerful at anything he does. But also, he'll be among the Orthodox. And so all the angry anti-Semite orthobros, they're going to be like, but he's the real super alpha Chad in our group. We have to follow him.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Then it'll be stuck with just the groypers, and then we'll go crush those guys.
Well, this is also why I chose to become an Orthodox Christian, because I thought, oh yeah, this is a perfect place to infiltrate with the mission of trying to crush anti-Semitism and all that. People are going to clip
this. Andrew Wilson's going to make a response. This is Ash. He says, "Yeah, I was just kidding with." Yeah, so he was. That was a guy who talked about he hurt his kid. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good. Al, David, what will he be live streaming AP's baptism? One of us.
We accept them. We accept him. No, but I will be recording it, but no live streaming.
Powerful.
Because you don't want to be live streaming and then he drowns or something like that and then messes up.
That would be pretty messed up. Yeah. Anyway, let's watch this part of this debate.
It's powerful. Piers definitely picked the most important topic right here on the planet.
Have you seen Sheep Among Wolves videos on YouTube? They're about the underground church in the Middle East in the midst of Islam, says Chupi. Never seen them. David, did you see them? No.
What?
the wolves, sheep among wolves videos on YouTube. Evan 999 blessings. Any suggestion for apologetics books? David, what's your one word?
I just saw someone put it in the chat because I saw it scrolling. I was wondering what they're responding to, but they said tactics and street smarts. That is correct. Those are foundational. Those are foundational. Meaning other topics, I would say, what are you interested in? Are you interested in talking to atheists? Are you interested in cultural stuff? Are you interested in cults? Are you interested in Islam? It's kind of going to depend on what you go. But tactics and street smarts, foundational. If you had to pick one right now, go with street smarts because he kind of, it's by the same author, Greg Kokel, but he kind of recaps. He gives a short version of tactics in street smarts. So if you had to just pick one, go with street smarts now. Then as a Christian, you should get a basic defense for the existence of God, because you're going to run into people who challenge you on that. Jesus, death, resurrection, and deity. Apart from that, pick what you're interested in.
Powerful. And yeah, let's continue with this.
Joe Rogan. I'm going to start with you, Jay, on this. This is Joe Rogan talking about the R word.
R word.
It's one of these retarded shows where they're screaming.
Pause this like every 10 seconds because Joe Rogan is as bad as Jubilee. Every time I've made anything with a clip of Joe Rogan, it gets a copyright thing, even though totally fair use. But you have to fight for it. You have to submit the things anyway. Anyway, yeah, just pause every 8 or 10 seconds with Joe Rogan. And I don't think it's Joe. I think it's whoever runs his social media stuff is a dirtbag.
Oh, this is Joe Rogan. You're right.
Yep.
This is who got our thing on stream
suspended. Oh yeah. You've experienced that. I told you when it's happening. I said it's going to get taken down.
Yeah. So whatever Joe Rogan said, we'll just have to hear it from these guys. Okay. Let's just
culture victories that I think is spurred
with that dork
on probably by podcast.
Now, Jay, is it a great moment, a great cultural victory that the R word is back, which obviously is short for it's retarded, it's mentally retarded, it's for people who are mentally impaired. It was used in a derogatory way against people who are mentally impaired. Why would that be a cultural victory to bring that back? You're going on the
soundboard, Piers.
Well, I'm a big fan of the R word because I myself act retarded all the time, and I'm proud of it. In fact, I would actually
look at Parker. Okay, Parker, you were all happy until this happened. So,
yeah. No, wait a minute, wrong sound. Where's the
what?
We're proud of that.
Okay, good.
He is proud of that.
Would probably get retarded. I myself act retarded all the time, and I'm proud of it. In fact, I would actually probably get retarded tattooed across my back. Because I think it is a cultural victory. I'd love to be able to say what's on my mind. I think.
Wait a minute. He would like to have it tattooed on his back.
That's not what. If Muhammad got a tattoo, it would say on his butt, but it would be on his butt.
Jay, wait a minute. I have to do this again.
Well, I'm a big fan of the R word because I myself act retarded all the time, and I'm proud of it. In fact, I would actually probably get retarded tattooed across my back because I think it is a cultural victory. I'd love to be able to say what's on my mind. I think.
Look at Parker Lewis, man.
I mean, well, these guys are retarded as an example. So we have.
Man, he's just oh god. I love this guy sometimes.
It's just funny how he's dead serious, like when he's saying, well, I'm retarded. I'd get it tattooed across my back. I'll do it right now. I'll go right to the tattoo shop right now.
Oh, these guys are retarded.
Look at Parker's in shock. Of all the things that you could get that could upset you most, Parker, this was it. Parker was smiling and happy at everything else until the minutes.
Look at Pierce's face.
Yeah, I mean, well, these guys are retarded as an example. So we have panelists that are retarded. So yeah, I love the R word. I'm rated R totally. And I think that it's a freeing thing. It's a way to express the way we express things in the 80s and the 90s without problem. Like, you can go watch Bill Murray comedy movies and they're great because
but people used to hang on. People used to use the N word, 30, 40 years ago. Right, but then that was
champion all the comedians.
But that became something that was taboo in society because it was deemed to be very offensive.
Look at this.
To black people.
Look at Parker Lewis, man.
Is
he going to sit there the entire time like this? Parker, I thought you were super cool, like for a lot of the time.
This is the most cringeworthy. Parker.
And then you're one of these guys who just does this to everything?
Parker,
that's Lily J level.
Here's the thing. Every single person looking at you can tell that you are forcing it and overdoing it.
Yes.
And it's not really having the effect that you think it's.
Yeah, do this, Parker. I bet he will, probably. They say Parker Lewis can't lose. Sorry, man. You're losing it now.
How do you think you're impacting the conversation like this? You're just acting retarded.
Yeah, you think anyone's going, oh no, Parker went like this. Now I have to change my view.
Nobody's gonna.
Like, he looks like he's, oh my goodness, I'm traumatized by even hearing this. What did you think? What did you think Jay Dyer was going to say? What did you think? I didn't know what he was going to say. I knew he was going to say something in defense of using the R word.
If that was a genuine reaction, that's one discussion, but it's clearly not. So.
Go back to acting school, Parker.
30, 40 years ago. Right, but then
I champion all the comedians.
But that became something that was taboo in society because it was deemed to be very offensive to black people. The R word,
I don't think it is.
The use of the R word is deemed to be very offensive to people who are genuinely mentally impaired, and they don't like it.
He's making a soy face, like he's like freaking out over there. But
he's making a soy face. Look at Andrew.
Andrew. Go back so we can.
Yeah, I'm focusing on
Andrew.
And they don't like
he's making a soy face, like he's like freaking out over there. But.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Guys, just so you know, whether you agree, whoever you agree with or disagree with, when people are doing this, then your response is to do the exact same thing, just as Andrew just did. That is your response, just so you know.
You just said it's justified
there's a
for
difference
white people
between
to say the
taboo
N-word?
and what's wrong, morally wrong. I don't equate the two.
All right,
Taboos are
Parker,
not equated.
your
to
response.
wrong.
So here's my question. Do you think that Jesus would say the N-word, and do you think Jesus would say the R?
These guys always got to go to Jesus for their moral claims. Keep in mind, at least Danny Boy was saying he has a foundation. So if you have a foundation that would apply even for atheists, why would you not say, hey, here is the thing that makes what you are saying unacceptable?
Well, let's take away for a second. Whether the whole idea of Jesus being the moral example to be appealed to here. There is a different factor at play, which is Jesus's role in society, in society when he was among us, and further. This is like comparing any random regular person in any conversation to Jesus, regardless of what their role in society is. It's like comparing, like leaving the divinity and the moral example of Jesus aside, right? It's like saying, oh, so you think so you think Jordan Peterson should be saying the N-word out there, should be dancing and twerking and all that? It's like, dude, I mean, people have different roles and different things in society. It's like it's ridiculous to always, in every single thing, go to Jesus and say, would Jesus do it? Whether Jesus would do it or would not do it also has something to do with his role in society, not just with whether he's not just with his moral example, right? Sometimes it's a pretty bad comparison. Pretty bad comparison.
But these guys are probably going to say, yes, of course he would.
Arsler? Here's my question. Do you think that Jesus would say the N-word, and do you think Jesus would say the R-slur?
Jesus does say jokes and slurs in the Gospels. Yes, he
R-slur.
He talks about.
So Jesus would say the R-slur in the
equivalents in his day.
So Jesus would say the N-word and the R-slur.
He calls people
the same
dogs,
thing as the N-word and the R-slur.
Reference to you guys' vice.
Parker, do people in your friendship group ever use the R word?
No, never.
If they did, I would immediately say, we are no longer friends. I don't want to be friends with you anymore after you said the R word.
I'm going to stop smiling now, and I'm going to do this instead.
If you say the R word, I can no longer be your friend. We are no longer friends. No more.
It's just a taboo word.
Hey, look, Jay's
yes, I think it's no, never.
It's just a taboo word.
Yes, I think it's incredibly wrong to use. You shouldn't use it.
People in your friend group use the N-word.
Can I
But
please
out of
respond?
interest, Parker, what is your rationale personally for not using it?
I think it's incredibly harmful. In the same way that we don't use other sorts of slurs because they're harmful,
Okay.
I think that
If
we
your
shouldn't use this word
arguments
because it's harmful.
Hurt my feelings. Should you not argue?
So no, specifically, we're saying it meets a threshold of harm, right?
Whose
because
threshold?
the R slur and the
Whose threshold?
my
is arbitrary?
threshold, my
Your
threshold.
So it's
is arbitrary.
subjective. That's a subjective
Yeah, we're
argument.
talking-
Thank you.
we're
So it's
ta-
only
we're
your
ta- we're
personal
talking-
subjective
Wait,
taste.
we're obviously we're
If
talking
it's
about
your
under
personal
my.
subjective
Can I
taste,
please
then it can
finish?
also
Can I
be
please
mine.
finish?
Okay,
So
well then,
please
Parker,
finish.
it doesn't
Please
reach our
finish.
That's a bad
threshold,
argument.
Parker.
All right,
It
Andrew.
doesn't reach our
That's fine. That
threshold,
would be.
Parker.
I understand, Andrew. That would be your perspective on the matter, but given my perspective, I would say that meets my threshold. Are you saying?
I mean, I'm kind of in the middle of this entire
I am too.
conversation because I would
I am.
say there are certain things that that you shouldn't just recklessly say because of their consequences or their some things are just unnecessary to say. We don't want to say every single cuss word, right? Because of the things that they signify or they mean, or the consequences they have, and so on. So if there is a word, for example, that is very deliberately used in history in very harmful ways, you generally want to abstain from saying that, which doesn't necessarily mean that the word in and of itself is a horrible word. For example, I would publicly abstain from saying a certain word, while I would in certain contexts in private possibly joke about it, or I don't know, sing along or explain it or describe it or something like that. I would do that while still thinking that publicly using it would be insensitive and inappropriate, right?
Yep. And so I'll go ahead and break down a personal experience here. So we have 5 sons. 2 of our sons were born with a physical disability. And I always said, lame. That's lame. That's lame. This is lame. That's lame. And one day my wife said, hey, our kids, because they have like physical disability, would be classified as lame. So maybe you shouldn't be tossing that around. But it was like around her, right? Because it would make her think, oh, wait, my sons are lame. If you have what my sons have, it doesn't affect your brain directly. It's a muscle disease, but over time, because your muscles aren't working, it affects you cognitively and so on over time, because you go through so many issues and so on. So they would be classified as having a mental disability over it, just because it things happen over time that affects you. And so she only mentioned the lame, but I made sure I didn't say retarded around her anymore, just because I was like, oh, she'd probably be bothered taking something that applies to a disability and you're making fun of someone as if they have that and so on. So anyway, with that said, it's like I'm not going to go around telling the rest of the world what they have to use. I'm going to make sure I don't talk like that around my wife, because it bothers her. So I understand if someone's saying, hey, well, this is if you're just talking in public and it's gonna bother people or something like that. But I don't know. It's kind of, like you said, you're kind of in between. It's like, I like being able to say words that, especially, I mean, when you say, that's retarded, you're not making fun of anyone for a disability or something. Like, we all know what you mean. You're not insulting anyone. If you wanted to make a case, I'd say stick with the R word as an insult for when people are being stupid, and drop it come up with a different word. Come up with a different word for someone with like a mental disability or something like that. Anyway, the point is, I can see both sides. I can see both ways. There are people who are offended by it, but I also don't like, sort of speech police saying no one can use this one, and if you do, you're evil, and we have to react with shock and horror. Like, if someone used it around my wife, she would not react with shock and horror or something like that. She wouldn't even say anything. It's like, okay, I can tell my husband that. I'll tell my husband this, because I'll let him know that it actually bothers me, because whenever someone uses it about someone else, it makes me think, oh, but that's technically my son.
And there are these things like there are words that if you ask me about them, I will say them when I explain the words. I will say them when I describe it. I will say it when I find it funny, for example, in a closer circle, to say something, to say it in a certain context. I would not say it, for example, in public or in front of a large audience, simply not because I think it is not because I think, oh no, we cannot say this, but simply because I think it would be inappropriate and completely unnecessary to say it. That said, I would not, just because I personally think that it is, it might be hurtful or unnecessary for different reasons. That doesn't mean that when somebody else says it, I'll be like, oh. I mean, I would think. I mean, I personally wouldn't say it, but whatever. And there's no reason to get this ridiculous reaction, Anyway. Anyway, it's Rachel here. Rachel, did I just see Rachel? I think I did. Rachel, how are you doing, Rachel? It's good to see you here. Yeah, here. Rachel Wilson J does get around to the point of context and propriety here in a minute. Awesome. Awesome. Okay.
Well, look, Rachel once again coming to defend the men. Men keep sending what? Jay and Andrew have to send Rachel to defend them because they can't defend themselves, little weaklings.
We're gonna start a fighting.
What?
But yeah, glad to see you, Rachel. Glad to see you here.
Rachel, can you go over and watch the live stream and make sure they don't say anything bad about us?
Saying it's okay to use the N-word,
and
Andrew?
it's subjective, and it doesn't work as an argument.
Wait,
Andrew,
why
it's
do
okay
you
to-
people that
Andrew,
wait,
Andrew,
That is correct. Him saying this is my threshold, dude. That was the dumbest argument I've ever seen in my entire life.
Look at this.
Hi, Rachel.
This is a warning to you.
And tell Andrew, hi. We didn't say anything bad about him.
It's an argument.
Wait,
Andrew,
why
it's
do you
okay to-
people that
Andrew, Andrew,
Subjective, and it doesn't work as an argument.
wait,
Andrew,
why
it's
do you
okay to-
people that
Andrew,
why do you think-
Yeah. Parker. Is it ever okay to use the word retard?
No. Is it okay for you to use the N-word?
Yeah.
Ever?
That's interesting. If you say never, then you're saying it can never be used of someone with a mental disability or.
No,
I understand specifically retard. That is a more negative. That's not like this person is retarded.
But not even when we are being adults and explaining a certain word, for example.
Yeah.
Are you serious, man? That's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is a little bit ridiculous. Never. I mean, I would understand. I would never use it, and I don't consider it ever appropriate to use it.
The R word, I've heard you say that. I've heard you say it like 1,000 times.
No, I'm saying I would understand if you said.
I would never use it. Yeah.
Yeah, but even if somebody asks you, for example, or you are explaining it in a certain context, even then it would never ever be that's stupid. I'm sorry, you're not an adult if you're acting like this.
Is it even okay to use the word retard to reference the word retard?
I think it's wrong to use it in general. Can you please use
Can you answer my question, and then I'll answer yours, I promise.
I said it's
Is
wrong.
it okay to refer to the word retard if you're explaining the word
You have
retard?
to say R word, apparently.
Say R slur.
R slur.
So you can't. Okay.
Look at Jay cracking up laughing. He thinks it's funny.
R slur. You are an R slur.
Listen here, R slurs.
That sounds pretty bad if you're British, man.
Hey, Parker. This is the most R slur explanation ever. Keep in mind, Parker. I'm like half on your side, and I think this is the dumbest defense ever.
Yeah.
Put it this way: I think my defense actually explaining the situation with my wife is a better response.
Bunch of R slurs.
Hey, shut up, R slur. Okay, it doesn't work.
I mean, in a British context, it sounds pretty weird.
What?
R slur.
Okay, so you can't even use just the word itself. Okay, so here's the thing that's so funny about this, right? Is like ultimately when we say retarded, yeah. So I wouldn't use the N-word. Here's why. When I say that if somebody says the N-word, what ends up ultimately happening, there's not really too much in the way of equivocation there. Retard is not actually referring to retarded people, though. Basically, ever. Nobody ever says it, Parker, to refer to somebody who's actually retarded.
That doesn't change it.
If you said that in like in a derogatory, not in like a medical sense, right? If you actually said, "Hey, you're a retard," to a person who is retarded, like you probably get clocked. Like I would be inclined to clock you if you said that to someone. So yeah. But Andrew's correct. No one uses it like that. So,
I mean, No one hyperbolically. Yeah, I guess.
Using the N-word to refer to a white person, it's still wrong. Would you use the N-word to refer to a white person?
I mean, in some circumstances, I think that you can use it in a comedic sense. That's hilarious.
Hold on, someone do it. Someone do it.
You think white people using the N-word is okay in any circumstance?
Yeah.
Does everyone see how effective that is? I'm not even talking about argument at that time. I'm talking about
Andrew.
Yeah, I'm talking about when someone just do the exact same thing back. You have to. It should be instant. It should be instant until they stop doing that nonsense.
That was good.
White person?
I mean, in some circumstances, I think that you can use it in a comedic sense. That's hilarious. Sure.
Look, at least, I mean, Danny might be a little, a little child, but at least his reaction looks like an adult's reaction.
Yeah,
in a sense.
Yeah, it's weird. At first, I was like, okay, Parker's way cooler than Danny, but Danny's being significantly cooler than Parker here.
For an 18-year-old, Danny is pretty acting maturely in this case.
He's acting like a 32-year-old now.
Yeah, but with Parker, you can see that he's 12.
I mean, in some,
it's just weird that this is of all the things, like this is the one like he's losing his mind over.
Yeah.
Dances, I think that you can use it in a comedic sense. That's hilarious. Sure.
You think white people using the N-word is okay in any?
I love
Andrew's reaction.
That is perfect. Andrew tends. You know what's crazy? It's like that should be obvious to do that when someone's doing it, but no one thinks of it except Andrew. And now that he's doing it, everyone will do that instantly.
Any circumstance.
Rachel just said, I heard Danny's actually in his 30s. Yeah, we covered that earlier. We were shocked too. I thought he was like 20, 21, but looks like 18 maybe or something like that. But there's a whole range. He's got to be like 18 to 22. Anyway, keep in mind, Danny, it's actually a compliment. We're saying you look really young for your age. So when you're 50, you'll probably look like you're 32.
Rachel, I made a video about him the other day, and I called him a kid in the video repeatedly because I genuinely thought he's just a little kid. But then people said to me in the comments, you're calling him a kid. He's actually 32 years old and a philosophy teacher. And I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. But then earlier, at the beginning of this live stream, he actually was here. He was in the chat. And we asked him if it's true, and he confirmed it. He said he's 32 and he teaches at a high school. So,
yeah. And I think I even put as the title. I think I put as the title of the live stream. Yeah. Humiliate spoiled atheist kids. I wasn't saying that. I was kind of making fun of. Andrew and Jay for debating kids, but I was kind of like serious. Like, what are you guys doing? Come on, what are you guys doing debating these kids? But he's not a kid. He's not a kid.
He sounds like 18. He acts like 18. I don't know, man.
He thinks like 18.
Yeah. Very, very wild.
Yeah, comedic senses especially. I think it's fine.
That's disgusting as fuck. You do it.
Oh my God.
Whoa!
Oh, you can't say the F word.
Whoa! How is that not censored, Piers?
You can't say the F word.
Hey, Parker. That crosses our threshold, man. We have a threshold, and you just crossed it, man. Gonna lecture people on what terms you're allowed to use, and you're here dropping F-bombs. See, I guess we were right about there being no foundation for morality in atheism.
Dance.
Yeah, comedic senses especially. I think it's fine.
That's disgusting. You do it.
Oh my God!
Right
Look, I just censored it. See,
what?
You can't say that word here. I just censored it.
Good.
What, is that an argument?
Basis.
Is that an argument, Parker?
Wait, me calling something disgusting because I think it goes against my moral
you think
intuition?
it's disgusting?
What's
okay,
the
right.
argument?
Homosexuality is
That's
disgusting because it goes against my
All
moral
right, let me bring in Danny.
Can I respond?
Hang on. Let me bring in Danny. This is what NBC said. NBC News, when they covered the return of the R word, they said, while its use has percolated in the comedy world for years, only recently has the word and discussion of its return become more normalized. That is fueled in no small part by a sense that the tide has turned both culturally and politically against those seeking to keep the word out of the popular lexicon.
That's
the battle lines of
think about the point there. So when I was growing up, we tossed it, you retard. Anytime someone was acting like an idiot or something like that, you said that, right? You didn't mean anything by it. You weren't. I mean, you were saying that you were joking. You weren't even serious usually if you're making fun of someone, right? You're just joking with your friends and so on. But you're never what? That's funny too. You're never making fun of someone with a mental disability, right? So that changes over time, and then you end up with the speech police, and they say you're not allowed to use this word, this word, this word, that word, and so on. But what happens when it starts making a comeback and you stop and you start losing the power to control, and people want to kind of rebel against you being the speech police? Then people start using it even more, which is what you're going to be seeing.
Thank you. AP looks good for 49. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's a good compliment. Yeah.
As fuck. Parker,
respond. Hang on. Let me bring in Danny. This is what abuse has percolated in the comedy world for years. Only recently has the word and discussion of its return become more normalized. That is fueled in no small part by a sense that the tide has turned both culturally and politically against those seeking to keep the word out of the popular lexicon. But the battle lines are not as clear as one might think. And there's no doubt that's true. I mean, what is your view about this?
I mean, we got to remind ourselves why people like us are against use of the R word, and especially in public places, right? Yeah. It's because it was a term, I believe, like technical term for mentally disabled people, and we don't.
Whoa! You can't say disabled, man. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, like what if we start saying, "Man, quit being so disabled"?
What is wrong with you?
You're gonna have to use that and stop using that word.
Those people or accidentally offend people that have children or relatives or friends that that are mentally disabled, right? And so it has that connotation. Unlike the word dog, when Jesus used the term dog, right? There's no such connotation.
Yo, what's up, dog?
Right? You'll have to be reminded of why it's considered to be a slur, right? I mean, it's like you forgot.
Yeah, but so is like the word. So is the word moron. So is the word moron. The word moron had a really negative societal connotation, and it still does. And people.
That's true. I mean, lots of the words like that, moron, idiot, things like that. Even things like lunatic. Those actually had like. There are people that these were applied to, and you use them to make fun of someone. But Andrew's right here. You'd have to. What about calling someone moron, idiot, lunatic, all those things?
Yeah.
Point is, I bet you I could go through live streams of Danny and Parker here and find them using all sorts of words where I could be like, oh, look what you just said. Look what that originally applied to.
Yeah, I usually, instead of using moron, I usually say myron. Yeah.
People use it all the time, just in lieu of the word retard. They'll just say you're a moron instead of you're a retard. It's like you're hang on. You're begging. Hang on. You're picking and choosing. Yeah, you're picking and choosing which thing to be selectively offended by. You're not. I don't. So like, let me ask you guys this honestly. I want you guys to answer me fucking honestly. Does the word retard?
Whoa! What? Andrew, come on. We were sitting here talking trash about the atheists, and then you're like, I can do that too.
To actually offend you?
Hang on. Pause there. Yeah. No. On a serious note, because Andrew's making a very, very good point there. That other words and stuff, but it's serious. If all of a sudden you had a bunch of people whining, oh, stop using the word moron. Oh my goodness, think about all the people who are mentally slow. And this would hurt their feelings and stuff like this, and then like attacking people and going after every comedian who's ever used it and anyone's used it, and like, oh, this person needs to be canceled. And what? It's like no one takes that in like a super offensive way until you guys start complaining about it.
Wonderful. Rachel, congratulations on your baptism. God grant you many years. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very, very much, Rachel. Good to always see you here. And best, warmest greetings to Andrew Wilson, despite his use of the F word, which has deeply hurt me.
Horrible profanity.
Deeply hurt me. It's make me cry. I think further I want it.
And his very rude mockery of Parker and his hand gestures.
Instagram, $100 if you cannonball into the baptism pool.
Do it.
You don't want to be live streaming and Mike Winger shows up. This is true. That is true. That's one big concern people have usually. Evan 999.
You already read this 1,000 times, man.
For apologetics books. I've seen my big fat Greek wedding. That dude got baptized in like a weekend.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too. I remember the guy converted because he was marrying a Greek Orthodox lady.
Robbie Hatmaker AP, are you going to do with David? Are you going to go with David to the true Protestant church after he plays along with whatever weird rituals Ortho bros do? And you mean the Orthodox? You mean the rituals that the early church did? Maybe. Inshallah. Let's see.
Yes, I think it's fucked up
Danny,
for you to use. I've been
does
very
it actually
clear.
offend you?
Oh, what is it? Just call this show the F-bomb show, Piers. Hey, Parker, did you know that that's a word that used to refer to sex? What are you saying, dude? What?
When somebody says,
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it does.
So
It
if
does,
Zach
especially in public
Galifianakis,
places and professional places.
so Zach
like this.
Galifianakis does some when he does comedy and he does a movie and he makes a joke and says retort. Is that also bad?
I'm confused the context of what you're referencing. Is he specifically trying to
No, wait a
refer to
minute.
the
Now, so
Arsler?
now
If he is,
context
then yes.
matters. So now the
yeah, he's
context
trying to
matters.
allude to the word retard.
I don't. Okay, then yes, that's wrong.
Okay, based on what?
You said based.
Who decides?
You said based.
Who makes the decisions?
I do.
Who says it is wrong?
Parker says he does. He says it's his threshold is the only thing that matters.
As of now, I'm offended by the word threshold
How dare you?
because it suggests
Parker.
a limit, and I don't like limits. And people could misunderstand that. It could refer to mental incapacity. And as a mentally handicapped person, I personally find this very offensive. Please abstain from using it from now on.
Yes, it's
Okay.
wrong.
I thought
So
you
it
were
is
saying
like
like someone. I
any
thought you were
word-
wrong.
Yes, it's
Okay.
wrong.
I thought
So
you
it
were
is
saying
like
like someone. I
any
thought you were.
word that references
you-
another word now is wrong, like moron.
So specifically, in terms of the one I thought you were referencing, I thought you were referencing like someone responding to an argument. I thought the particular term that you
No,
were using.
Zach Galifianakis in a comedy movie saying retort
I
as a
understand.
joke instead of retard.
So if your
Yeah, and
friend
I think
says
that's
to
incredibly
Parker,
fucked up to use.
Okay, so now also
Whoa, man!
Whoa, come on, man!
man!
Now
What
he's
is
just he's doing this on purpose now, man.
We have to cancel the show, man.
any word
Yeah.
that refers to the word retard is now wrong, like moron.
I think if you're intentionally specifically trying to use a word right in place specifically of the Arsler, specifically as to create the same type of outcome as the Arsler.
So
and I
any
do
word
think
that could refer to
that
that
particular
word is now wrong.
intention.
Look at Andrew.
I think
Andrew's
that
cracking up laughing.
If one more person says the F word,
Yeah.
we have to cancel this.
Hey, Parker. Let me point this out to you, buddy. Did you know that Al-Zut originally referred to a tribe,
Yeah.
whereas now it means to gangbang somebody?
Yeah.
And so we use it. We say, "Oh, Muhammad got Al-Zuted," but that just refers to the tribe originally. So should we not be using that
Answer the question.
because it would be offensive to the tribe?
Answer the question.
I got news for you. People who are the descendants of the Al-Zut tribe are proud of that. They're proud of what they did to Muhammad. So you quit trying to tell people what they are and are not allowed to say, or explain to us why we can't say Muhammad got Al-Zuted.
You can't say R, man. It's offensive.
particular intention would.
But you can't
definitely
say
be
the word
wrong.
moron. So now you
Right,
can't say
the word moron.
You don't necessarily have that intention. It doesn't meet the
So
particular
this is
threshold of harm
you're
as
just
well.
spiraling into insanity because
That's not.
purely
I gave two
subjective.
conditions to separate it. I gave two conditions.
Okay, so he decides what you can and can't say. All right, we got it. All right, awesome. Are we done with this?
Young atheists nowadays,
Praying
they think
for
they're the
you.
standards of morality.
And Grumpy Granny praying for you both weekend. Welcome home, APX. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. K4 Ray Comfort talks about Christians having a new heart and new desires. I struggle with what that means. As a psychopath, what's your perspective, AP? I think he's right. David, what do you think about that? Any
When I
thoughts?
became a Christian, I did have a new heart, new desires. I still had issues, but I definitely had a new heart, new desires.
Base.
New heart, new desires.
This was a good super chat. I like that. I like to hear
Yeah,
that.
very base.
Sarah F. Parker, he has a little idea. Has as little idea what show he's on as JP had.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what show you're on? Do you know where you're at? That's exactly what Piers should have said.
Parker, where you at? The third orange. I just tuned in to the live stream and all I see are two wannabe rastas wearing sunglasses bumbling around in the dark. What the heck is going on?
It's bumble clotting, man. Bumble clotting.
Yep, that's what's going on. Third orange.
Yeah, now you know.
Arctic based. And if you don't know, now you know. I count 7 soy boys on the screen, LOL. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I count 2,
5.
maybe Pierce sometimes. So 2, I'll say 2.5.
I don't know. How does he get to 7? I don't really get it. I don't understand.
Maybe he's the R word.
Yeah. Maybe you're blind or something. You have an eye problem? Are you the R word? Tashiro says, you Islamophobe, stop saying things about it that are true and expose my religion. I love astaghfirullah.
That's a good point.
This is good. This is good. Robert Michaels, I love it when Dawood, a clinically diagnosed sociopath, displays more empathy than normal people. You can tell he spent a long time studying.
Well, because you're kind of forced to decide things based on reading other people's reactions in various, and especially when they just flat out tell you, but you catalog all this stuff, man. You catalog all this stuff.
That's true. Arctic based, by the way, David and Jonathan's probably best story in the Bible. Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah. Robbie Hatmaker, Rachel, they called Andrew the N-word about 5 minutes ago. Yeah, we did. I called Andrew the N-word. Yeah. Naughty, naughty. Searching deeper, Jesus never swore or used slurs. J. Dyer is wrong. Matthew 5:22. Jesus said, and anyone who says you fool will be in danger of the fire of hell.
Don't misquote Jesus there. And Jesus called the scribes and Pharisees fools. So,
fool. Fool.
Yeah, he didn't say anyone who says you fool. I mean, yeah, if you leave out the context, he's talking about saying it to your brother and what it's revealing about your intention and so on.
What did he say?
So,
what did he call them?
In the context of Matthew 5, he's talking about.
I know, but what did he call them? He said, what did he call the Pharisees?
He called them fools. Fools, blind guides, snakes, brood of vipers, whitewashed tombs, all that very, very offensive stuff.
Yeah. Ash Mays, what's up, Ash Mays? How are you doing? Is it okay to say if you have Tourette's, RTRD? Sorry.
Oh, I'd almost love to have Tourette's because then I could say anything I want and no one could say anything.
That's funny. Sarah FD came to farm clips and got exactly that. Powerful. Well, not very good clips. Ryan Davidson, Jordan Peterson voice. What do you mean by retarded? Dita Ragosa, it's all over. PCBS. PCBS. That's true.
Yeah, that's the issue. Like if someone doesn't want to use a word, this word or that word or something like that, then go with that. But once you let people know they can police all your language, they're not going to stop. And so you just have to draw a line and say, nope, not going to do it. Matter of fact, I remember Norm Macdonald used to always say, this retard, blah, blah, blah. He used to say it all the time. And then there was war declared on him, and he had to actually apologize. And that's Norm. He actually had to go apologize on this talk show and crap like that. And it's like, come on, he's a comedian, and you guys are manufacturing this controversy.
But I have just been informed that 4430 is a very good interaction.
What is that?
I have to check that out now quickly. I've been reliably informed that at 4430 there is a very good interaction.
Don't believe
wrong under my perspective. You're misunderstanding subjective morality.
You're not giving it.
Wait, I have a question.
Tell me why it's
I have a question.
wrong morally,
I have a question.
objectively, if
I'll
I can
ask you this
also
question.
counter it.
Can I ask you this question? Do you think that morality is true dependent upon God's stance or independent of God's stance?
Ultimately, it's grounded.
He's going with the pro dilemma.
Okay, so it's
God is
subjective.
the subject. Yeah, God is a subject.
No, that's
so.
not a subjective argument.
No.
The argument.
Wait, God is a
The argument is
subject.
that it's objective.
God's
The fact that a
subjective.
person
God is
makes an
subject.
argument doesn't make the argument subjective. Your argument
God is
is
a
pure
subject.
subjectivism.
Is God a
Two
subject?
different things. It's a category error.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
These guys, this is bad. This is dumb right now.
If you are an atheist, this is the lamest argument that you can make. I even thought this as an atheist. How does one actually think this is a good argument? This is the lamest, dumbest argument that you can make in terms of
Extremely.
morality as an atheist. Please, man. It just makes you look idiotic. It doesn't help your position at all. It is an incredibly stupid argument. Do you want to expand on that, Damon?
I'm assuming these guys are going to expand, but this is just terrible. So we only saw a couple seconds, but it sounds like they're saying. So if we talk about are your moral obligations is that subjective or objective? What that means is it just based on like your personal preferences and feelings, or is it something beyond you that is actually it's not just your feelings. It goes beyond. It's something that is actually an authority. And so when Jay says, no, God is a standard, they're saying, oh, but God's a subject, and therefore it's just subjective morality. It's whatever God decides.
Not
and there you're not understanding the terms. And the fact that guy all the way on the left teaches philosophy, he should know better. This is embarrassingly terrible.
God is not a subject in the same sense. That,
that's a different sense.
That a subject would be a subject.
You guys just equivocated.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. God would not be a subject in this case in the same sense that any random observer would be a subject. From the human perspective, it would then be objective. God is not an involved subject in this case. This is a stupid argument. An incredibly stupid argument.
Is God a
How's that a
subject?
category error?
It's two different categories. A subjective
Exactly.
argument.
We're two different people too, right?
Different than a person who's a subject making an argument. Those are two different.
The point is that God is a subject; he's not an object, right? We're subjects, right? We understand morality in terms of God. In fact,
you're equivocating again.
Look, can we bring this
back? Exactly what I said. Equivocation.
Exactly. Thank you. And this shouldn't be hard to understand, man. This is very simple. You don't have to be a you don't have to be a philosophy teacher to understand this. I'm not a philosophy teacher. I took maybe a few courses on philosophy. That's it. This guy is supposed to be a philosophy teacher. The heck?
Those poor students. Those poor students.
No, you want to run away.
No, you can't.
Wait, God having his particular view on morality is no different than me having my view because we're both subjects.
The argument is that
no, you're not a subject in the same sense. You're categorically different subjects. Oh my God.
Even if you said you and God are subjects in the same sense, you couldn't say your view was equally valid. God would be all-knowing and all-powerful and the creator of everything else. And therefore, even if we went with your stupid definition and your equivocation, what you said would still not be true.
Yeah.
Unless you're delusional enough to think that you're omnipotent and omnipresent and omniscient and so on, and the creator of everything, which you might, given how some of these young atheists are nowadays.
Yeah. So you subscribe, let's get this straight. You follow a certain moral system and a certain belief system.
David Ryan there, good one.
Where?
That's what I was thinking. So Danny thinks objective refers to an object. Yeah. That's what he thinks.
So you follow a certain belief system, a certain moral system, a certain religious system. In this religious system, within this certain religious system, it is established that there are objective moral values, right? And as somebody who is then part of this religious system, you follow this guideline of objective moral values. You don't do subjective morals in this case. That's it. You can't necessarily or really argue that this is the case also for atheists, for naturalists who don't have an objective moral system that is grounded in something that you can actually demonstrate and establish. You can't say, well, your moral system depends on that figure that established these moral rules, and that person is a subject. Therefore, you also have subjective moral values. You can't really make that argument. It's a dumb argument. You can't compare that to you guys justifying certain things based on who is talking, for example. It doesn't work that way. That's not the topic.
And I mean, if you took him seriously, right, that since he's a subject, he gets to decide what's right and wrong, great. Then, Parker, I can decide to slap the freaking crap out of you anytime I want, and that's like my subject. So, like, do you really believe that? Whatever any person decides, that's equally binding for reality. How in the name of common sense can you even talk to Andrew and Jay and tell them that they should be listening to you? How Parker, you're a subject, but they're subjects too, so therefore you can't correct them. Oh my goodness, and everything is equally valid. Stupid.
Danny says to you that you should learn basic philosophy.
Oh, thanks, Danny. I'll go out and do that right now. I'll try and learn some basic philosophy because Danny told me to. The guy who thinks I don't even want. This is so insanely
here's
stupid.
His explanation. There are many philosophers that make the point that divine command theory is a subjectivist view. Mike Humer is one of them.
I think what he's saying there is something along the lines of that God, if God decided that torturing puppies for fun is good, then it would be good, and therefore it's just arbitrary. Danny, if you've studied anything in the realm of moral philosophy, you should know how stupid you sound right now. And if you don't know how stupid you are right now, we can only attribute this to your atheism.
Danny, I just have one question to you. Is God, in this case, in the same way a subject as you would be a subject in a typical subjective moral worldview? Please tell me that. Even if you're going to argue that you could make the point that divine command theory is a subjectivist view, is in that case the subjectivism here the same as the subjectivism in the regular sense that we are talking about, and in the discussion that you were having with those two Christians? Please tell me that answer in all clear honesty. Please tell me. Please tell me this. Answer me this very simple question. Is it the same subject? Is it the same kind of subject? Is it the same kind of subjectivism? Please answer this question. Do you think that's sufficient?
I don't know why you're interacting with it. There comes a point where you're like, this is too stupid. Why are you interacting with it?
You think that's sufficient as a question? You want to add something to it?
I gave up after he said this. I'm not interested in it.
Please answer to me very, very honestly. Is it the same type of subjective? Is it the same kind of subject? Is it categorically the same thing? Please tell me. Come on. Please tell me. Please tell me. Please tell me. All I need is a very, very short yes, it is the same, or it is not the same. Go ahead, please. Come on. You don't need to type out a long.
Hey, look, Digital Gnosis said, stop talking. What did he say? Yeah. Stop insulting him whilst not letting him in, you bully idiot. Why are you using the word idiot? Don't you know that's a word that actually referred to a person with a certain level of
gnosis? You sound very radical.
Yeah,
man.
how dare you? And what are you going to do? You're going to start dropping the R bombs on us and stuff? Come on, you're going to start dropping the R slurs? You're dropping the I slur on us? You bigot?
Danny Phil talked. So you refused to answer my question. I ask you one more time. One more final time. Is it the same kind of subject? Is it categorically the same kind of subjectivism or subject that we are talking about, and that you were very, very clearly talking about in this discussion that you were having with those Christians? Please answer my question. One final chance. Answer my question. Is it the same kind of subjective? Is it the same kind of subject? Please answer my question. I'm really curious. I just said they were different types of subjects. Wonderful. Good. Thank you. You are an idiot. You are an absolute imbecile. And yet you were acting in that discussion as if they were the same kind of subject. That's it. This is the kind of people that we are arguing with. Dishonest or stupid. I don't even really know what to say. What do you think? Is it dishonesty or is it stupidity? What is it? I don't really know.
I think stupidity.
My God. Steve McLovin, I want to see the atheist reaction to the British words for cigarettes and meatballs.
Oh yeah, I don't know what their
in.
word for meatballs is, but I found out the word for cigarettes like the hard way. I've mentioned that, but yeah, it was the first trip I ever took to the UK. It was there for some debates, and it was a break. They have like tea time in between the debates, or in the middle of in a break during the debate. Anyway, they had like this tea time and stuff, and there were two Muslims standing behind me, and I heard one of them go, "Hey, you want to go smoke a fag?" And I was like, "Whoa, there's about to be a hate crime going down." And then I figured out pretty quickly that they're just they got a different word.
Cult will raise. Wilson never makes a claim because then he would have to defend it. It's an annoying trick that atheists use. His type will provoke you more and more until you make a claim and then play skeptic. Wilson never makes a claim because then he would have to defend it. Why are you attacking?
What are you talking about? Wilson makes all kinds of claims.
Why are you attacking David? Why are you attacking Andrew Wilson now? It's very, very mean of you. It's very mean of you. I'm going to report.
Yeah.
Soldier
we'll
of
get his
Christ.
wife on here to humiliate you. Well,
Daily Wire should change his name to Didiometer. Cartoon shrug. It's funny because many still say mentally handicapped as an insult to stupid people or something stupid in the same exact way people say regard. Nobody says regard. I've never heard a single person say regard. Arctic-based AP doesn't look a day over 8:48. You got that
That's
right,
true.
man. AP Daily Wire, call out Andrew like Jay and have a convo. I might have already done that.
Yeah, where you at? Where you at, Andrew?
Byzantine
Don't
warrior.
get
These
scared
poor
now.
atheist guys are getting played like a musical instrument. The orthodox on the right are infinitely more street smart, loving this. You're just saying this because you're orthodox yourself.
Yeah, and you guys aren't even thinking how things look to a 15-year-old TikToker.
Yeah.
When a 15-year-old TikToker sees, they're like, "Oh, this person must be right."
You can't say psychopath, says Gabriel. Swizzler Sniper, I'm sorry about that. Parker is such a wuss. Hurts his feelings.
Yeah, is his standard of conduct.
As a Gen Xer. I don't get it.
Yeah. I decide what the threshold is, and whatever I decide the threshold, that's what everyone has to obey. And you get a population of these people, and that's why you end up with the problems we got nowadays, ladies and gentlemen.
Sarah, if your baptism is 5th anniversary of holes in the narrative, this is true.
Legend status.
Arctic based. Did you see NT Wright has been cancelled by Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, and the like?
I did. And it was because he was saying something about, if you were to find out that your unborn child is going to be disabled or something like this, then you would want to abort your child or something along those lines. And yes, I saw Matt Walsh go, all right, he's canceled.
Josh Wilson, I'm a Christian reading the Quran for the first time because my brother-in-law just converted to Islam. Is there anything I should keep in mind as I read?
One, if you are concerned about your brother and you want to respond, I wouldn't start by reading the Quran. And that's not just, oh, the Quran is so powerful, you should avoid it. It's you're going to give up halfway through Surah 2. It is painfully bad to read. And it's so jumbled and incoherent, jumps around from topic to topic. You don't learn a whole lot by reading the Quran. The sort of the main point of reading the entire Quran is just bragging rights to say, hey, I've read the entire Quran, right? That's it. If you actually want to respond to Islam, there are significantly better ways to do it. I would go to the website Answering Islam, answeringislam.net, and pick a topic you're interested in or that you know your brother is interested in. Study up on that topic. It will take you to the relevant Quran passages and so on. Learn those passages from the Quran on that topic, and a couple of hadiths on that topic, and take it from there and interact with your brother on that. And then when another topic comes up, go study that. So I encourage people to study Islam topically. And again, it's just from experience. People, hey, I want to reach Muslims with the gospel, or I want to get involved in polemics against Islam. I'm going to start with the Quran, and they give up and they never get started again because it's so painful to read. And again, you just don't learn a lot from reading the Quran. You can't even understand massive parts of it without going to commentaries or understanding the historical background and so on. If you did want to go through the entire Quran, probably grab the study Quran. It's a Muslim book, but they give commentary, which is kind of relevant for the background on various passages. But yeah, I would go about it differently. You know your brother, we don't. Think of the topics that are relevant to your brother, study those. Also learn the Islamic dilemma. We've got plenty of content coming out on that, but very powerful stuff. You don't know the Islamic dilemma? It's if you want to read through the entire Quran, you want to know what to pay attention for, pay attention to all the passages that confirm the inspiration, the preservation, and the authority of the Jewish and Christian scriptures, and use that on your brother. Hey, why are you rejecting the Bible when the Quran tells you to, that the Bible is the inspired word of God?
Powerful. There's some insults Paul and Peter say in Acts that has me in stitches, says Mother Hulda.
Oh yeah. Paul's brutal. You son of the devil, you enemy of all righteousness. It's interesting biblically who's on the receiving end of just brutal rebuke, because it ties in with Jesus. When Jesus is brutally rebuking the scribes and Pharisees, who's he talking to? He's talking to people who are leading other people astray. When Paul flips out on Elymas the sorcerer, who is he responding to? Someone who is leading another person astray. Those are the primary targets in the Bible of this kind of rebuke, are people who are leading other people astray or oppressing them in some way. And so I'm saying, keep that in mind as a Christian. If you have oppressors, false teachers, false prophets, and so on, those are the appropriate targets of brutal rebuke. Other people, not as clear. Just like a regular person that you're interacting with says something mean, not as clear. Oppressors, false prophets, false teachers, you are on good ground for brutal rebuke there.
J. Macon Dyer says, them atheists are retarded, man.
The atheist man. The atheist man.
David Ryan, so then he thinks objective refers to an object. Wow. FBI most wanted Draper Dangler says Sodom and Gomorrah is a sucky place to live in. It is indeed. Yeah. Terrible place. Don't buy a house there. Austin, he thinks this because he is his own god. His own god. It doesn't change the fact that he has a tiny peanut brain. Go top. Apple just dropped a new product, the Isler.
The Isler. Okay.
Robbie Hatmaker, Danny Quick, Google. David Wood has PhD in philosophy. Yeah, this is the funny thing. He tells you to learn basic philosophy. I think because he saw you like looking like this, he thought you was just some random homeless person. Which is why he's telling
he thinks Jamaicans can't study philosophy. What the heck,
you
man?
Racist.
He saw me and he thought,
racist,
oh, look at this Jamaican dude. He's Jamaican.
Racist bigot. I'll pause it off a lot. My favorite part of the stream is when Danny said that David Wood should learn basic philosophy. Yeah. You have to go to Danny's classes, man, to get some.
Yeah, I got to learn. I got to learn from Danny.
Searching deeper, the way J. Dyer uses a retard is harsh and malicious and derogatory. It is not what Jesus did. I read the Gospels many times. Jesus was not like that. Yeah, so happy to say that not everyone is perfect in their conduct, and I would agree that, for example, the way that Jay sometimes puts things or says things wouldn't be stuff that I would consider appropriate or correct. That said, everyone has their their flaws and good sides, and we talked about that very much when we had a live stream the other day
when he was humiliated by us.
Yeah. Powerful. Austin, according to Amro in the chat, Allah is watching me, haha, but what if I'm going to the bathroom right now? So how can he see me? Allah doesn't look when you go to the bathroom.
Some people don't know. There's actually a debate among Muslims whether Allah sees you when you're in the bathroom. Like, well, yes, he sees everything. And no, why would he look at someone in the bathroom? It's beneath him. It would be. So they actually have a debate about whether Allah sees this stuff.
This question came up earlier, but this is actually kind of a funny aspect. The last religion that I was a part of was Islam. So I got a lot of Islamic thinking and a lot of Islamic paranoia in my head. So going into Christianity and going into Orthodox Christianity, which is more so, has lots of tradition, ritual, and stuff like that. It's in my mind, I sometimes get things pretty wrong because my mind goes to how Islam was about those things. So I'm like, I'm wondering, am I supposed to say this thing in the bathroom? For some reason, it's in my head that it would be inappropriate, but then I think, wait a minute, where did I get that from? And I think it probably comes from Islam. There probably is no such thing in Orthodox Christianity at all. And I look it up, and it's in fact true. In Orthodox Christianity, the idea is that when you're in the bathroom, you're not in a place where God doesn't look at you. Like you're always in God's presence, and God is not ashamed of you, and you're not supposed to be ashamed of God, and in natural circumstances. So there is some kind of weird stuff that Islam ingrains into your head. There's a weird paranoid way of thinking that I need to work on still. It's kind of funny. Kind of funny. I relate to that AP, LOL. Yeah, it is very difficult sometimes. It is difficult sometimes. All right, David, anything else? Christ has got to modern Protestants, not all, need to stop thinking Jesus as the soft, happy, go rainbow hippie. That's not true. Biblical because he was strong and firm. That is true. That said, I feel like as an observer, as a new observer, people sometimes make it look like it's one or the other, and say, no, he was completely brutal, and it's wrong to be soft altogether. I mean, you have the example of how he was in the Gospels, right? It's not one of the two extremes.
Gosh, who was that? Eldridge or something like that? It was years ago, but he said, who was Jesus more like, Mother Teresa or William Wallace? So Mother Teresa famously took care of lots of sick people and so on. William Wallace going out fighting the British stuff. Who was Jesus more like? And he said, that depends on who you were. That if you were coming to him as a bully or a person who's oppressing other and leading others astray, he came at you like William Wallace. He came to start a fight. And he said, if you were an outcast of society who'd been trampled on your entire life and were despised by other people, he came to you like Mother Teresa and so on. So, good idea.
He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. Muhammad, peace be upon him. Holy Joe, I will use the Rushdie book for polemics against Islam. Thank you very much. Also, who gets the muta split of jizya this time?
I hope you're joking about the Rushdie book.
I hope you're serious. Arctic based, someone was harassing Tovia Singer in chat 2 days ago.
What?
Oh. Isa Kabir. Wow, Thought Police? Sounds like 1948. Hey, all. Good to see you.
You said 1948.
1984.
What are you dyslexic? Wow, you're the D word. You're the D word. You missed. You.
I think it's because I'm all the Israel debates and discussions.
Oh yeah, 1948.
1948 is in my head instead of 1984. That's kind of funny. I'm also tired. All right.
No, I have one final announcement.
Okay, do it.
This is the most shocking of all. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Got a secret for everybody. Ready?
Yeah.
It was me the entire time. People thought AP had some Jamaican friend that was also named David, and it was me the entire time. Oh, man. Oh, you guys feel dumb now. Oh, man. Whoa. That was funny. Classic.
Wow.
Pranked you all.
Wow. He was here the whole time?
The whole time.
Wow. Wow.
Woo.
Now Danny's probably watching and thinking, oh, look, he
my goodness.
He actually believed it.
I thought I was talking to a Jamaican the entire time.
Word out box. AP, I'm an ex-Muslim. I left at 17. I'm 30. My parents said whistling someone to jinn. That's what my parents said to me too. So wherever I go, whenever I got a beating, I would whistle after so the jinn could come for my parents and avenge me.
That's funny. Classic.
Anyway, all right. Thanks everybody for watching. Now that we know that David is here, I was wondering where he is.
And we should be back tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, we should.
All right.
Tomorrow I will be doing some prayers in preparation for the baptism and stuff. And then we'll be right before it. Thanks everybody for watching. And we will be together again tomorrow. There should also be probably a video when you have the time to do it. And as always,
are you sick in the mind? Are you that mentally?
Sorry. That was the wrong one. As always,
stay away from Islam.
Good advice. Wait a minute, this is not even my channel, man.
Yeah, I know.